Hello.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Technical Difficulties. It's been a while. We had a few technical difficulties, kept us off there. The drum roll's supposed to play somewhere around there.
There you go.
So how's everyone doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
I've been all right. Hey, Valorum, welcome in. You're the first comment.
Nice. Well, today we got one of our moderators, Blasto, and our guest, Lemcott.
Hello.
Do you want to be referred to as Lemcott during the stream? I forgot to ask.
Yeah, Lemcott, Lemmy, Lem. I've heard it all. You can call me whatever you want. My real name is Sam. I'm not like hiding that or anything, but it's just I've used that name online as my handle since I was like 11 or 12. So it's just kind of I watched Hackers at a young age and just thought I needed like an online name, and it just kind of I've used it since.
Nice. Yeah, it's kind of been the same for mine. Boot disk, because Linux, you had to install with a boot disk, and just stuck.
Mine was Squeaky 1989 for most of my life. We're not going to talk about that.
What? No origin story?
No origin stories.
Well, let's get right into it. The thing we came here to talk about is the price of single board computers. It's
They're
gone
too damn high.
Yeah,
They are very
it's
too damn
gotten
high.
crazy. A Raspberry Pi 4 with 8 gigabytes of RAM is going for like $170. You have to buy it as like a can of kit. It's a bit ridiculous. Basically double what it was a year ago, and probably won't be coming down ever again either. This is most likely just our new normal as far as pricing goes. Hopefully availability will get better. It won't be where everything's out of stock every time you try to buy it. But yeah, this is basically our new normal. A Raspberry Pi 3 that's 6 years old and costs $80.
Exactly, Rand. These rents are too damn high.
So now that Raspberry Pi, which was the really cheap and still good option, is expensive, what else do we have that is in the same price range now?
Rock Pi has been around for a while. Odroid.
I do have one. Rock Pi and Odroid both have a similar issue of really limited support. So you definitely got to make sure that like whatever version of Linux you want to run, make sure that it's actually supported before you buy the board, because it's not going to be like a Raspberry Pi where you can just stick virtually anything on it. That there's a version for everything.
Yeah.
Odroid does make a pretty nice little handheld, though.
Which one?
For Odroid, they make a couple handhelds.
Yeah, I do like their handhelds. They're a little retro.
Oh yeah, the pre-built.
Yeah.
There's still the Atomic Pi SBC.
I was trying to remember the name of that one.
Yeah, this one's been floating around for a while. It was some kind of a failed Kickstarter. I don't know, it was like a pet robot of some kind, and this was the motherboard for it. That company folded up, all their assets got sold, and I don't know, they must have had tens of thousands of these things because it's been like 3-4 years now they've been for sale. There's limited support. It's a little difficult to use this board for anything, but if you get the right version of Linux, get all the right kernel drivers, everything installed, it's a quad-core Atom processor with 2 gigabytes of RAM, bunch of I/O, and it is still $40. I think maybe it was $20 last year, but $40 today for what it is still, pretty decent.
You also have the Redaxa boards. The
The Radza rock.
I don't know how to say it. It's like Redaxa or Ragsa or whatever. But yeah, the Pi Zero Killer or whatever they were calling it.
Was Pine 64?
Yeah, Pine 64. They've got quite a few boards right now. They've got a couple new ones.
They have a phone. I'm learning about that
They
right
do.
now.
They have two
Yeah,
phones.
they got the
They have
Pine
a new one.
phone. It was like a minor revision to fix all the problems with the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people like that. Actually, one of the people in our group made a mechanical keyboard for it. It was pretty cool. It was a very shrunken down mechanical keyboard. It was the cherry chalk switches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see. Pine 64. I saw something about them making a board that's going to be compatible with the motherboards for the Raspberry Pi 4 SBC, the
Compute unit.
the compute unit. So they're making their own version that will be able to plug into the same motherboards in theory.
I got to be honest. I love those little chunk lanes that they have for press fitting in the Pi 4 board or the Pi 4 compute unit. I was really expecting more like handhelds and stuff for the 4 compute unit by now, but I really haven't seen all that much. Like I was expecting just drop
I feel like that's timing.
Yeah, that's
all
true.
of these passion projects got delayed because these companies aren't setting aside 10 components for somebody when they have an order of 10 million to fulfill.
Yeah, if you look at like what's his name, Gearling's list of like Pi 4 compute unit boards, it's like half of them are just like nearly finished, but it's just like, I can't make the order because we're out of this chip and there's no replacement for it, and it's just like you're just gonna have to wait.
Yeah,
I think the same thing happened to that Mirko PC guy. We were going to have him on the show, but
yeah, everyone's ran into the same issue. That's why I bought the Raspberry Pi Foundation's carrier board, because I just wanted to get one in hand that I could actually use. And you can always worry about shrinking down the project after you've built the prototype. At some point these carrier boards will be available.
I read an article the other day. It was saying that dip package chips are not anywhere near as hard to find as their surface mount counterparts. So I wonder if maybe people should start, designing things for through-hole dip packages and things like that. That might be a way to kind of, it wouldn't be ideal, but
yeah, I mean that's entirely doable if the part is available. Some things are just not available as that kind of a package.
True.
Imagine a Pi 4, but you have to build it yourself exactly like the original first Apple with big like slot-in dips. And
that would be really fun though, actually.
Might as well do some wire wrapping too.
Yeah.
Skip the PCB and just use some cardboard and wire wrap it.
I feel like you could do a small run of that. That'd probably sell out pretty well. Oh man.
Yeah, until everyone remembers how much it sucks wire wrapping dip switches.
Now there's always salvaging, because if you work in IT, you get to replace a lot of computers around, and it might not be as small and as compact as a Pi, but any 4 or 5 year old desktop mini PC, you can run a lot of Linux.
How about a laptop?
Windows. Yeah, old laptop. Done that before.
Look at the motherboard from a laptop, and especially more recent ones, they're usually only about this big.
Yeah. The rest is battery.
Yeah, lots of battery, and you already have your power circuitry. Potentially, you have your battery, your circuit, possibly a display. I mean, there has to be a reason why you're taking apart this laptop if it's already a fully working laptop. Just put some Velcro on the lid and stick all of your other hardware on it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's like you said in like an office setting where you're taking them out of industry, a lot of those are ThinkPads too already, and that's already fairly well
I've got
documented.
my small stack of ThinkPads over here.
Man. Rand Basic says the cutie pie.
What's that? Was that the tablet?
I think it's that tablet with the handle on it.
Yeah, what's that been, like 5 years now since they showed the first one?
I don't know.
Still not available.
I like the handle. I'm a slut for a good handle on something.
Got this is a Ace PC T11.
Thin client.
Yeah, just a little thin client. There are plenty of Linux distros that people have put out for these things. And you can find these, like, honestly, in most recycling bins. Let me cover that label up. And then, yeah, these little Lenovo boards. I mean, they're what, like 45, 55 watts? They're definitely more powerful than a Raspberry Pi, but you can honestly, like, throw Proxmox on here and run, like, 5 different Pi distros at the same time. It'd be totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do a lot with those boards. And you can buy them for about $50 on eBay any day of the week.
Yep.
You can throw in a few upgrades too, max out the RAM, max out the storage, clean it up just so it has better cooling again, like when it was new.
Yeah, that's basically what I've done with these.
Actually, I think Damon's has a few of those up for sale right now at the cafe in our flea market.
I'll have to take a look at that.
I really want that.
Which is also a good location to
64.
The keyboard.
Yeah, the Commodore 64 that he's got up right now. I'm like,
oh yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, if anyone's looking, check the flea market. The whole point of it is for, instead of having a bunch of hardware sitting on your shelf collecting dust, just put it up for sale.
Yeah, I
spread
probably
around all these extra. If you've got a pile of thin clients, then throw them up there.
I probably
spread them out to everybody that needs one. It's worked out pretty well so far. No complaints. And some cool hardware. I got a hold of a Model F that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Model F is a nice keyboard.
Yeah, it's fun. It's clicky. It's big. I do use it on my desk, but the problem is it is about this wide and this deep. So it's like prime real estate. It takes up half of my work mat. So I can't leave it up here all the time, or I just have enough room to actually build something.
It is a chunky boy.
Is the F still buckling spring, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really the same as the Model M. It's just a slightly different model number.
Gotcha. Trying to think of what is most people's use cases for a Raspberry Pi right now, though, because I feel like a lot of people were buying them just because they were super convenient, because the distros were just download, stick it on an SD card, and it boots up. You can do it with Octopi, you can do it with Pi-hole, you can do it with I know regular people that don't own any non-Apple hardware, yet they've bought a Pi and threw Pi-hole on an SD card because they were just so tired of ads in their home. But
right, and it is kind of it's kind of point and click now. It's well supported enough. It's been around long enough. There's probably a package out there that does everything you want, and it is really good as that. You can almost sell it. And there's billboards, there's signage, there's things that just use a Raspberry Pi because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And someone at a store, they didn't just go buy one and load something up. They bought a package from a company that has made it into this sign, but they didn't ask what's inside of it, not realizing it's just a what used to be a $30 Raspberry Pi.
Yeah. So just kind of are those people the kind of more casual people who are using them for these single-use applications like RetroPies and Pi-holes and things like that? Are they still actively looking for Pis, or are they just going online, seeing the price and going, this isn't worth it? Why are people excited about this? Or are they actually?
I mean, you can do all the same things just on a x86 single board computer, thin client. If you're not accessing the GPIO, you don't need a Raspberry Pi because pretty much every package out there is also compiled for x86. So it's hard to say.
I think you have
I've got one of these. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I've got one of these little guys. I really like this thing. It's not permanently installed in any device because I can just plug in power, HDMI, and
is that one of those compute sticks?
Mm-hmm. It's one of the Mealy. Let's see, it's a PCG02.
Alternative to a Pi.
It's fucking expensive. Before the price hike, this was $300. For what it is, I mean, it's powerful. It's faster than any SBC out there that you're gonna, come across. But it's too expensive to dedicate to one project, which is why it stays in its case and can move between them. And then you just have a bag full of SD cards with different distros installed. There's no point in dual booting when you can just pop out the memory card.
Yeah.
I like it, and it's good, but it is kind of too expensive to recommend for, a Pi-hole or as an emulator. You might as well go with just like a used thin client.
Yeah, there are definitely some cheaper computer HDMI sticks that you could probably find around. That would be okay-ish for like maybe Pi-hole. I don't know about RetroPie. That's a little bit more demanding. Really depends on the use case, but like I feel like it is bad across the board, no matter where you look. But I feel like if you have a specific use case, you can still find at least something out there in your price range. Especially if you open your doors to something used, you can definitely find something.
Now, this is interesting. I just checked, and this thing is still the exact same price I paid for it 2 years ago.
Nice.
So this has not been affected by the price hikes. Well, now that might actually be a decent option then.
Yeah, I think with the Raspberry Pi's, price going to the moon, you might have a lot more people who are trying to make a project like a CyberDeck or something like that consider more powerful computers, like the Intel NUC or, some of those.
Now that's really another great one to get used.
There's not a huge difference in price anymore. It's just maybe another $150 and you're there.
Yeah.
So,
for something kind of the same power as a Raspberry Pi 4, you could do an Intel NUC from 5-6 years ago.
True.
8 gigs of RAM. The RAM is probably the most expensive part.
But it's upgradable too, usually on a NUC too, which is something you can't really say for a Raspberry Pi unless you want to do like that one guy did and switch out the chip himself.
See, now that was an expensive project because not only did he do this, meaning he had to source the chip and possibly sacrifice the Pi, but he did this while the prices were up.
Jeez.
And who knows how many he destroyed on the way without telling anybody. Yeah, CyberDeck building has gone up in price a little bit. Most of the stuff has still stayed pretty stable. Price of a lithium battery, control board. Mechanical keyboards I haven't really looked at a whole lot lately.
They're pretty much the same.
Stupid expensive then.
I still think it's cheaper just to make your own. Like I don't know. Like I know hand wiring is not something a lot of people want to do, but I still say it's cheaper.
As the thing is, like even like the original DIY mechanical keyboards where you're hand wiring everything, like you were maybe coming out $20-30 less than a store-bought one, and you got to pick your own switches, which back then was like wild notion, right? And now it's just like you can get any of the Cherry switches, you can get the Roamers, you can get Razors, you can get whatever off the shelf, and they're going to be more than fine. And like trying to DIY something that's like even half as quality as that is going to cost you, about the same price anyway. But yeah, I still like hand wiring. It's mechanical keyboards have never been like a price saving thing to begin with. So it's kind of
they're
like,
really not.
Yeah, it's always been for show.
It's a
and
luxury
just because you
item
want
for
to.
sure.
Yeah.
I actually just got a new set of keycaps in the mail the other day. I got these are those. Oh boy!
Oh, nice.
They're like the video game kind of pixel inspired ones.
Yeah.
They were on Amazon. I got them for like $10, which was kind of cool.
I'm glad it's like, I'm sure that there are people out there, but I have not found as many people in mechanical keyboards.
Like this one?
Yeah.
Very similar to that one, yes.
Yeah.
But
I
mine are
found
gray.
much less people in this hobby being
These are the same color.
persnickety about certain things. Because I feel like most people in most hobbies would be like, "Oh, you bought switches off of Amazon. Caps off of Amazon. That's bad." But I've never really like heard that in mechanical keyboard people, and I was just like, "Oh, that's nice."
Hi, John Mack.
Yes. They're all gonna fall.
You know what really surprised the hell out of me is these were actually shipped just like this. They weren't even taped shut. So I haven't actually counted them to make sure they're all in here because they weren't sealed at all. But
this one came in a nice tray. I like it though. Got all like Pac-Man, Ghost, Game Boy, all the random stuff.
Little Mario.
Has not found a home yet. But it's been a while since I've done a mechanical keyboard.
Yeah.
There was one set of like artisan keycaps of like those little Pokemon cartridges. Is it going to make me sign in? I wanted to make like a gaming themed keyboard. To secure your account, we've reset your password. Oh, isn't that lovely?
Every time.
I am going to share my screen for a second, Food, if I could.
Kind of lost track of time in VR. Yep, that happens.
So I don't know if are you sharing the screen? I can't tell. I moved to a different space.
Yes, now we are sharing.
Okay. Oh, there we go. So they have like these little, they look like Game Boy cartridges. And I really love these. And I want to add these in, and kind of replace the letters with the, it's like Pokemon Yellow would be the Y key or something like that. I think that would be really cool. And they even have glitter in the gold, silver, and crystal ones. And
nice.
I think that's
so are
really
these
cool.
like a mass-produced artisan?
No, these are by Blue Bomber Fox. He does, or she, I have no idea what this person is, but they do like periodical restocks and whatnot. And just look at that, like the crystal one. That's just so awesome. It looks so cool. But I guess we're going off the on a tangent.
We can't have a keyboard episode without Dahlia joining us.
That's true. I miss her. I wonder what she's been up to. I haven't heard from her in a long time.
Yeah, at least a couple months. That happens.
Hey, Dracius.
So who do we got with us watching the stream? Haven't really been paying attention. Any questions in the chat?
Everybody seems to be chilling. If they have 12.
Yeah, Dracius. Yeah, check him out. It's Blue Bomber Fox on Instagram. I mean, he does the, like the black Game Boy color, like the deluxe ones that you could put in like both regular Game Boy and Game Boy Color. He does quite a few different game cartridges, or she, I don't know. But very cool stuff, in my opinion.
Hey, Blasto, you got a hold of one of the new Raspberry Pi Zeros, right?
I do. I have a Pi 02W right here.
Look at it.
What do you think of it?
I actually haven't done anything with it yet. I took it out of the box, and it's been sitting on my desk here since I got it. I just haven't had much time to do anything with it. One thing I did notice though is like the trimming on like the board, like where they snap them off, is super rough on this one. Like I've never had it. Like you can almost like saw your finger in half with it. But
lowered their production quality a little bit,
I guess. But I think it's cool that they kept the same form factor, so you can just plop it into whatever whatever you want.
Yeah, other than power requirements, this thing's not going to be able to be powered by anything that was intended for a Pi Zero specifically.
Yeah, but I mean, you could probably still get away with like a Power Boost 1000.
I don't know. It's a Pi 3 CPU on it, right? Or is it a 3B plus CPU?
I really don't know.
It's I don't think it's exactly a Pi 3 chip, but they said the performance is about on par with a Pi 3. I don't think it's the exact same chip.
Yeah. Well, I know it's underclocked. They couldn't handle the heat dissipation for it and probably the power draw. Yeah, I want to get one too because I've got one of those Game Boy DMG emulators, and it uses a Pi Zero in the game cartridge slot.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured this would actually be a pretty nice drop in.
I think that was the Retro Flag.
Retro Flag.
Whatever it's called. Yeah.
That kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like I really expected more game style boards for the Pi 4 compute unit, but I guess with this new 02, it's just kind of like drops into all the ones that already currently exist, right? Well,
yeah,
more or less.
That would be an upgrade that would probably get you up to probably at least PlayStation 1 and N64.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Arsenage says the power requirements are quite similar, so unless you really load it, you shouldn't have too much of power drops. It's not the exact chip. The RAM is added to the package too.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I remember something like that. They didn't stack it this time. They just have it all on one die. But
yeah, speaking of the handhelds, the CM4. Which ones did get released for the CM4? Like,
I know
which ones actually are out there versus just
handhelds
promo photos. Yeah, I know a few of them got made.
There's one for the PlayStation to put in a PSP. Like you take out the motherboard from a PSP and put in, it's like PS Pi or something like that. I've seen that a few times on Instagram, but it uses
Does it use the original?
It'll use the screen and it'll use the shell and the buttons and everything. But I haven't really read too much on that one. Yeah. So I do like the form factor of the PSP a lot better, I think, than I like the sandwich shape rather than the.
Yeah, I still have an original PSP, but mine still works. So
they're very finicky to take apart.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Mine does not have. I do not have a working disk drive in it. That part quit on me a long time ago, so I gutted that whole section out. Yeah, I just removed that whole section because I have the thing modified and I can just load the games directly off the memory stick Duo. And I just turned the back disk slot into a SD storage slot. So you just put a pile of SD cards in there with all your stuff loaded.
Also snack storage, big proponent of snack
kind of
storage.
limited.
You could put like one or two, like, I don't know, slices of like salami piece folded up inside of your.
I'm looking at one of these right here, the Retro Light CM4. This thing looks absolutely amazing. CNC milled aluminum front and back case, and all the standard specs you would. Yeah, probably would be. Of course, it's only expensive if it's for sale, and part shortage, it'll never actually be available.
I'm just waiting for Kite to come out with like the next circuit sword or whatever with a CM4. I think that'll be really, because he usually does brilliant work, that guy. But
Well, the question is he actually working on that?
probably, but my guess is with the chip shortage, it's probably not coming anytime soon.
I still want to see Pi 4 flight controller breakout board, Pi 4 compute unit flight controller. Like, you can do RG Pilot or something with that pretty easily.
Yeah, maybe something more advanced too. Use some machine vision and obstacle avoidance.
At that point, you might as well just use an NVIDIA, the Jetson Nano boards. I wonder how many UARTs how many UART breakouts from a Jetson board?
I don't know, but they do have those. Was it like the little neural net chip or something on it?
Yeah.
Do some advanced AI stuff.
I imagine you could hook LiDAR into that for some imaging real easily.
Yeah, didn't someone post one of those in the Discord today, actually? Picture of one? Or am I thinking of something else?
The
LiDAR?
Jetson.
Yeah, that was Knar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're pretty cool looking. Trekius says the DC jacks get loose real fast.
Oh yeah, I replaced mine at least once, and had to get the aftermarket batteries, and got the one that has the chip in the battery, which lets you, hack the PSP.
I miss my PSP. I had a PSP and a PSP Go. I loved that Go. It was so cool. I played Dissidia on there like for hours. I loved it. But like a dummy, I sold it. But can you do?
Yeah, it's like the same thing when you sell your classic car. You can never get it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can, but you just pay through the nose for one mil.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Jetson... Yes.
You mentioned that you had some projects you're working on that you don't want to show on stream. Care to show us?
I can give a sneak peek. So
you can lie. We wouldn't know the difference. I mean,
Yeah.
It could be a 10-year-old project, and no one would actually know.
I'll give a sneak peek because it's such a dumb, stupid idea that I'm not really sure
it's a good start.
Why nobody's done this, and that's like the whole point of the video I'm going to make on it. How easily can I do this? I'm a professional. I can do this. No.
Also, drop a link in the private chat here in StreamYard for your YouTube, and I'll throw it in the comments here.
Gotcha.
And add it to the description later.
So this is one part of my project that I'm working on. This is another part. And that's it. That's all you're getting from me. That's all you don't need to know anything.
That sure is a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah.
Kind of looks like a single CD holder.
Kind of, right? No. So let me give you the sales pitch. Go to Amazon and search teleprompter right now, and tell me which one under $100 actually looks decent.
And then I know what that is then.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm stupid.
So
buy a sheet of acrylic.
Through the magic of television, I have that part right here.
Baked it earlier.
Yeah. It just holds a piece of glass at 45 degrees. Why do people make this so difficult? You look online for these teleprompter systems and they're like $125 to like $200 like minimum, and they're this whole setup, whereas this 15 millimeter rail system is like 35 bucks altogether, and then a 20 cents of plastic 3D printed part and a $2 5x7 photo frame glass from Michaels.
Now, you're using it with a phone or a tablet under it?
Yeah, so I've just got a GoPro mount phone holder right here on another rail, and I can just position it however I want, slide my phone in there, and it holds it in place.
That's pretty clever.
Is there a specific teleprompter app that you like to use?
Not really. I have 4 on my phone at the moment, and I figure I'll have a better idea of which one I actually like as I get to use it some more. Hopefully when I have a better sounding voice.
Wow, these really are quite expensive.
Yeah, and they're all pretty garbage. Anything under $100 is usually like a box that like clips on to your lens instead of using a lens hood. And then it's just like a little tray you put your phone on, which is just, I hope you don't bump into it, because then you're losing glass and your phone and your camera all at the same time. Excuse me, I'm in a conversation. He's been very meowy.
It's a loud cat.
Yes.
Meow.
If I bring Jake in here, then there'll be like a fight breaking out.
Oh yeah, just
My
I can't
dog.
even see other cats. Oh, dogs. We have 2 dogs. They get along ish. He's just melting right now.
Valorum asks, what was the reflective glass called?
Beam splitter, 3070 beam splitter glass, which I spent a unreasonable but not too bad amount of money on getting a very nice piece, and then I broke it. So now I'm just using photo frame glass.
Yeah, you don't really need the two-way mirrors. I mean, you get better contrast. You know, you get a little better image, but
is there a reason that you couldn't just put like a tablet like right above the camera and just read right off of it?
Because
so
then
that you look at the glass,
it's the difference between me looking at the camera right now and looking just slightly above the camera, or looking just slightly to the side of the camera, or looking directly at the camera is very different.
Fair enough. What if you put it like a giant TV behind the camera?
I tried that. I have a nice ultra wide monitor, and I just set my camera in front of it. The weird thing about it is that people can tell, because your eyes don't just move left, right, up and down when you're focusing on something. They actually beam together in and out to focus on things. It's the whole binocular vision thing working for you. So if I'm looking at the camera right now, it's not too much of a difference, because I have a wall about 2 feet behind where my web camera is right now. So if I focus on the wall behind it, there is a slight difference, which you probably can't tell like on this thing, but like
make them big, Boot. Let's see.
I don't know how obvious it'll be, but like this is me looking directly at the camera, but this is me focusing on the wall behind the camera, which is like, it's only maybe 2 feet difference, but it's still somewhat noticeable. That, and trying to read a whole bunch of text behind a blurry camera that you're not focusing on, is somewhat of a hassle, and something that plagued me for many of my video recording sessions.
My camera is about 6 feet away. My screen is about 5 feet away, and camera is just off center from behind the screen. So I'm focusing on the screen, which is only a few inches in front of the camera. I think it works pretty good, but yeah, I'm definitely looking, you can tell I'm looking down versus like looking at the actual lens.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could just go really long emo bangs and just, kind of cover your eyes, and no one will know where you're looking. Or wear goggles.
So I have one video Fuck, you just kind of spoiled it. I have
I'm
one
sorry.
video about drones where I didn't have the teleprompter set up yet. So I plugged my drone in to my benchtop power supply and I just pointed the camera at my computer screen and then wore my FPV goggles.
There you go.
So like the camera's looking at me and I have big old FPV goggles on and I'm just talking away like I have all this stuff memorized. It's pretty
There
good.
you go.
It's like I definitely like that idea of just like using like even like index. Use your index and just do like a desktop.
I mean,
app.
when Lydia joins us, she wears her Glyph DLP retinal projectors.
Wow.
So that has her display going on in it.
Yeah.
Whereas
I mean, you could also just put big googly eyes over your eyes. I don't happen to have any nearby like I usually would, but
Mm-hmm.
no one can tell where you're looking with those either. It's very scientific.
Definitely want to try
High-tech.
those gloves.
I have no idea where
Well, I
they
like
were.
it. That's a cool project. I mean, it really is simple. Yeah. No
Trekkie
point in buying
says he's-
something like that.
Trekkia says he's always wanted to build one of those infinity tunnels.
Yeah, those things are a trip. Over at the indoor the FPV races that I go to once in a while, they have a few of those set up. Excuse me. You try and fly through that, and it's a nightmare. Like it's so hard to fly through the center of a tunnel that is mirrored with LEDs. And
it's like I'm not epileptic, but I understand. I get it.
Yeah, you're like, I get it now.
Oof. Yeah, it's I definitely have those moments with some bright lights, like testing out like a big LED strip, and it's just like you change some code and you hit start and you look over at it and then they all turn on at once and you're just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go take a break because I can't see the screen anymore. Oh man.
Especially if you're a creature that generally lives in darkness like I do. I have chronic migraines, so I stay in the dark a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one of those LED masks, and that thing has like a grid of LEDs, and it displays images and little video clips. The PWM frequency on it is excruciating. Like you're wearing it and you see a little bit of the light come in around the eye holes that it has, and you hear the hum from it. You have that thing on for like 5 minutes and you totally feel like you're heading towards a seizure or something.
And it's just coil wine PWM. It's not like EL wire on an AC circuit, is it?
No,
like it's not.
No, just the PWM wine itself.
Or if your your ring lights have a disco button, that's gonna be fun.
Why?
Please stop. Thank you.
I'm only laughing though because my studio lights also have that. They're single. Well, they're multicolor, but they're not like RGB. They're just change the from like bright white to
temperature,
brownish. Yeah, temperature
control.
This
cycles through cold to warm, and
it has all of those other functions on it too. So you can make them strobe and flash and fade on and off. It does all the same thing those cheap RGB strips do, which is like just such a terrible idea for studio lights.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, like if you have any sort of microcontroller to control even from like 1,000 to 7,000 Kelvin, just temperature stuff, it's going to be a microcontroller that can probably control full 5050 or WS2812 LEDs. Like the Pi Pico is like
what ESP 82 or something. 88.
Oh yeah, like an ESP or even a little Pi Pico for $5. Like you're probably going to see something at least, maybe not even as strong as that, but close to it.
To do that, do you need like a transistor for each color line then, or is it powered just through the?
That's serial.
It depends. Yeah.
You're just going to feed it a serial connection, and the LED is powered off the strip directly.
Yeah, because the strips themselves, where are you? The strips
they'll be like
themselves
fully
have
addressable
little controllers on them. At least the WS2812s, like the APA 102s, the 5050s.
They sell
They're
them
not
as
like-
NeoPixel on Adafruit.
Yeah.
They're the same ones, just cheaper.
Yeah, and you have to be careful about which strips you're getting too, depending on what like animations you want. Because so I have this electric skateboard right here, and I went through a few different Git libraries looking for LED strips. And you're a very noisy cat today. The ones for the WS2812 are the same LED strip software, Adafruit basic stuff you see everywhere, the NeoPixel library. And it's just like using a controller or Bluetooth or whatever to cycle through different cycles. Whereas the only one I found that could actually communicate with the ESC and update the LEDs bright enough to actually be able to synchronize it with speed, like actually going faster, going reverse, anything like that, like actually having your lights set up to sync with your actual ESC information, were the APA 102s. Like they just had like a faster controller within the LEDs. It's just a weird discrepancy that I didn't think anybody else would ever notice. I don't think anybody
Is
else
that
knows
what you
that
have
too.
set up on the electric skateboard? It changes color based on your speed?
Oh God, no. I don't have any APA 102 LED strips, so I just never really messed around with it. Other than bookmarking that Git I found and the documentation about it, I am just putting WS2812 NeoPixels. I have a button that you just hold for 3 seconds and it'll go to a different cycle, because I don't want a whole bunch of different modes. I only want like 2 or 3 modes that I can just go between, and I don't need to remotely activate it or have Bluetooth or overcomplicate it. Just hold down a switch for 3 seconds to cycle.
Yeah, that's good. Keep it simple.
Yeah. It's electric. It's a weird hobby to get into with the way the software and hardware is set up, because there's really only one option, and that option is, while it's open source, it's not entirely open. So there's some like limitations, and it's just not updating that quickly, and there's not a lot of competition because it's not a really big hobby anyway. So be interesting to see where that industry goes.
Yeah, it was similar when I got into doing resin printers. There's one package of it's not open source, but the software has been released for free for anyone to use. The guy's not going to release the source code because he knows every manufacturer out there would just steal the software and use it and hide it under a different theme, a different skin. This way, if you really want to customize it, you go to him and you actually pay for him to modify it for you, which is an option. Nano DLP is the name of the software. It's great. Like, that's what ran my first couple of resin printers. Built one from the ground up, but using this software package, if I had to do the software, I never would have finished the printer. Way too complex, way too much going on.
That's like from like the Peachy printer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they were using it. It's been around since people were making the DLP based printers. When I got started, I did a MSLA, typical LCD mask, and there weren't any DIY projects for that at the time, so that was a little bit challenging. But yeah, it's fun. It's pretty cool. Right up until all of the cheap resin printers got released, and then there was no point in the hobby anymore.
Yeah,
because your component cost was about double as buying a pre-built printer, and you still had to build the thing and have it work.
Yep. That's like it's really funny when hobbies hit that point where buying is almost equal with DIYing. Like, even FPV drones right now, like you can buy all the parts and throw them together on a drone, or you can go to get FPV or race day quads and get one that's going to cost like maybe $20 more than individually speccing the parts out
Or
yourself.
even cheaper if
Or even
they're
cheaper
getting a bulk
on a deal.
You know,
Yeah.
I know iFlights, the parts will end up being cheaper because they're doing a bulk on it.
And that thing, like, literally, this just happened like a month ago. A company called Meepo released a board called the Hurricane, which cost $1,300, which seems a lot, but that thing cost maybe $1,500-$1,600 to DIY, and that's not including all the parts that I killed in the process. So it's probably closer to $2K. So it's like that thing came out, and I was in the Eastgate Discord, and it was just like everybody in there was just like, for like 2 weeks since the Meepo Hurricane was announced and the price was shown off, everybody, like, anytime somebody new joined the Discord and was just like, hey, I was thinking about DIYing or whatever, everybody's just like, no, just don't, just save yourself, just buy this new board, it's fine.
Yeah, we went through that for a while with the resin printer builders group,
Yeah.
And anyone joining now, especially, it's like, why are you even here?
Yeah.
The only reason to build one now would be for a specific use, like you want to experiment with it, not as your first machine, but you got 10 of the pre-built ones and you want to make something special.
Exactly. Like there's definitely always going to be a case for DIYing, no matter what hobby, no matter the cost, because there's always going to be very specific people with specific use cases. And like, I don't really have that for the board, so I can't really justify it. But the fact that like no one, literally no one, has used that deck on an electric skateboard, as far as I know. I can tell you that I have not seen a single person use a dropper mosaic board on an e-skate. So I get to be like, that's mine. And that's the only good thing about spending all that money DIYing. So I could get to say it's mine. I'm the only one who has it. But like, I had another.
I mean, that's the same with the cyber decks,
That okay. That was the other point
someone builds, like it's your own. Like
exactly. Like
and
cyber
the question
decks they're kind of immune.
What do you use it for? What do you use it for? It's like, well, the same thing every other computer on the planet gets used for.
Mm-hmm.
But I also can keep upgrading and replacing the stuff over time. So it's not a single purchase, You buy a laptop, you use it till it breaks, you replace it or spend quite a lot repairing it.
Mm-hmm.
I like this, I like it as it's a fun hobby anyway. It combines all of these other skill sets, usually a lot of 3D printing and, a bit of everything.
That's like, yeah, the main reason I try to DIY most things is that like exactly like you said, if my laptop dies tomorrow, I have to buy a new laptop. Like that's if my phone breaks tomorrow, I have to buy a new phone. Like that's it.
Even if you want to fix it, you probably have to work in the next 2 weeks while you're waiting for the repair to, get mailed back to you.
And like I can build a cyber deck in a waterproof like Pelican style case, and every single thing inside of that case and the case included is probably going to be no more than $60 per part. So like, even if I like spec one out with like a 12S 4P lithium ion battery in it and just like balls to the wall every single power buck converter in out thing I could possibly, 4K screen, like I could do everything, make it cost, $1,400-$1,500, just as much as another laptop. And at the end of the day, if any one of those parts on it breaks, any single one of those parts is going to be less than $60. Like on a like a $1,400 cyber deck.
And I mean, when you actually go to, say upgrade it later in 5 years, you're going to be annoyed because it still works and nothing is broken.
Yep.
You're like, I can't replace this, perfectly good mechanical keyboard if it still works. I mean, I've been using this one for like 4 years now. I kind of want to replace it, but it works and it's good. So like, what justification?
Trekkia says that cyber decks are also an expression of your own unique individuality.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is true.
It's kind of like fashion, you know. It's like, yeah, you could wear a burlap sack and it would be just as functional, but you know why?
Well, and it's it's a sign of the times we're in anyway, right? Everyone, we've got the boiled down bone stock. Everything looks the same. Every phone. Is this an iPhone? Is this an Android? Is this a Pine phone? You won't.
Yeah.
You don't know because they all look exactly the same.
Like I'm kind of tired of it. Like I can fit a whole Switch in my pocket. I can fit a Raspberry Pi in a case in my pocket. Just throw a touchscreen on it and 5G antenna, and I'll fucking rock that instead of a phone any day. Like, and I feel like boutique, like personal electronics stuff like that is going to become more.
I mean, if it wasn't for the power issue, the only thing these devices really have going is that, the battery management, the power saving features, like they're optimized out the ass, and you can get a couple days of battery off of it. I can't do that on my, on my Linux phone that I built a while back. Battery life's more like 3 hours, but I still like it. It still is a cool project.
I think as the whole right to repair kind of movement takes off and gets a little more of a foothold, I think we'll start seeing, maybe more people. Certainly not the general public, but the weird people.
I think you'll have the right to repair your iPhone, but they're gonna start using, super glue instead of removable tape.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what I mean, though. Like, I think as it becomes more commonplace, because it's not sustainable, to just keep throwing away everything, because you can't really recycle any of these phones. I mean, yeah, you can peel the glass and the aluminum off, but it's all going to go into a landfill.
Yeah, you want to see something depressing, look up how stuff is actually recycled or not actually really recycled, just separated and dumped in a landfill.
To third world countries, and then it's, you see these little kids like picking over like old CRT screens.
This is another thing for the cyberdecks, like recycling them, like buy it once and replace, like you said, $60 part, maybe $200 or $300 for the SBC if it ever dies on you. Even the batteries, right? If you're using 18650s, you have a huge pack. You might have individual cells that wear out because of a manufacturing defect or something, and you don't even need to replace all of them. Just replace the ones that have started to die.
Yep. Yeah. It's just like, and like I'm really glad the Team C's thing. I think it was Maker's Muse did a video about recycling 3D printed plastic parts. And I'm so glad people are finally like realizing that PLA is not recyclable. They say it's decomposable. It's not. Like it's or not. They don't say it's decomposable. They say it's biodegradable.
It's like 100 years only.
You have to degrade it in a very specific genetically modified bacterium bath at a very specific temperature for like 15 years in the company that owns the patent like of the GMO bacteria.
I was at a conference and I got to sit in and listen to this professor talk about that. Like they had found and isolated a specific bacteria that will eat plastic. And theirs actually does it pretty efficiently and will eat a wide variety of them. And you're left with a fairly clean water after.
Yeah. You basically
but it's a long ways off from, from full production. But even that, it's still a complex process. Everything has to be just right for this bacteria to live. And
I mean, it's like brewing yeast, essentially. It's like you have to keep it at this perfect temperature in these big vats and just fill it with PLA and wait 10 years.
Right. So like if you want to break down PLA right now and do it rapidly, you've got to bring it up to a temperature higher than you'll find in a compost pile. And it needs to be under pressure. And it still takes many years, and you're still left with a plastic. It's just been slightly converted. PLA is not at all environmentally friendly. Other than it's made from corn oil.
One thing I've done with like some of my, failed prints and whatnot, put them in like a Vitamix. I bought a new Vitamix recently, which is a super power blender, and you just blast it with some water in there, and then you like spread out the chips in like a cookie sheet, and you can make like sheets of plastic and build shit out of that yet.
Oh, I
So
never thought
it's
about that. Remelting them
yeah,
into sheets.
yeah.
That
So I mean,
that goes with that. There's a rule of like never 3D print a box, because it's just like you can buy a plastic box, but like melting all your scraps down into sheets, that's perfect.
Yep.
I've been saving it for you can use it for filler, like if you're doing silicone resin pours, or you can just fucking throw some wasted 3D prints in there and just take up space. That's all you really need it to do.
Yeah, I did. I printed a Cubone cosplay. I did a giant bone club, and I just kind of shredded up all the old parts, mixed in some glue, and stuffed it inside the. Because I printed the bone hollow, so I just, instead of having any infill, I just left the end caps off and filled it up.
Yeah.
Trekius asks, why don't they just respool PLA?
They do include.
It's probably not cost effective to do that.
Just recycle.
You're going to have like 10% recycled PLA is going to be in most of the filament you buy. But that's not like for the environment. That's because they're getting it cheaper than the raw material.
And most of it's just like recycled fallen stuff off the manufacturing line. Like,
there is one company, Greengate 3D. I think they're called. They do a lot of like recycled PETG from like soda bottles, and I think Zach, on one of his filament videos that he did, he even showed like the ones that like it says which soda it came from on the spool. Like, I'm printing with Sprite.
PTT, PET, PTG, those are much more recyclable. Of course, that filament costs twice what you'd pay for a spool of virgin plastic. So if you want to buy recycled, you have to pay quite a bit more for it. You can also get some, algae-based filament, which is going to smell like red tide at the ocean while you're printing. And the print will continue smelling like that forever. So, definitely a good option.
I would love just like a Mr. Fusion, pour in all your prints and just like spools out 1.75 millimeter line, but I think we're a ways off from that. I do think you're going to see more like hacker spaces and DIY areas. Like,
if you could just have a maker and you just get a generic maker block, and if you can't afford that, you get the one from the Mafia.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Transmetropolitan, because that's how they have their maker. It's sort of like a replicator. You just get a base block. It's all the base components, and then the thing can just make you anything.
I think it would also help if you had more printers that used pellets instead of filament, because I think it's probably going to be easier to recycle something into a pellet than it would into a filament.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
you could just chop your failed prints or supports and feed it right back in with the pellets. In theory.
It's like the whole reason why 3D printers, at least consumer 3D printers, use filament was like hoppers, and feeding has always just been an issue with pellets and like to get it consistent. So that's why they kind of just like do it for you before you buy it. So
you're offloading that workload to someone else, that can have a bigger, better machine, and we can have a super cheap, end product.
You're already babying the bed level and the Z offset and everything else, and now you have to like baby this vat of pellets that you have to keep poking to make sure it's feeding. I think it's going to be a thing if we can figure out the mechanics of it and how to build it more reliably. So like I would love an idea where like HP's 3D printer has your grandma pouring in a jar of pellets, and
the printer comes with a grandma.
That's what That's what the Stratasys printers are.
Yeah.
They have a cartridge. It's like a giant ink cartridge. You load it and it's all automated. You don't need to know how any of it works. You just follow the instructions.
Those are just rolls of filament inside of a cartridge, though, aren't they? I don't think they're pellets.
Well, no. Some of those are
Grandma
powder.
doesn't
Like
need to know that.
the fused powder. They have some that are filament, some that are resins.
The powder ones. But
the point is, it's a sealed ecosystem, and it gives you that simplicity, so anyone can use one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if someone's going into 3D
For the
printing,
low
they're not
price
really
of-
looking for simplicity.
Right now, but
Right now,
like think about it in the future in a world where grandma can just press a button and stick out a picture for
Well, I mean, all right.
That's true.
I'm not a huge fan of the Prusa products. Just I don't really like their printers much, but their ecosystem is pretty good. Like their filaments are great. I love their filaments, and I use those as much as I can. Just lately, it's been hard to.
They're
get a hold
expensive
for
too.
a decent price. Yeah,
like $40 for a roll of PLA. You can kiss my ass.
if you've got their filament and you've got their code on it and you have their presets in the printer, you can just turn on the printer and print. You don't need to fuck with the temperature or feed rate or any of that because it's all it's all done for you.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good system,
So you take your iPhone out of the box and you just type in your Apple ID and it's all set up for you. I'm saying
the same thing. Yeah.
I'm not trying to like go into an Android iPhone fanboy. There's always going to be a portion of the market where people want consistency, reliability, and ease.
Hey, I want ease. I want my tools to work when I turn them on. Like they need to just work. I don't want to have to repair them first just to get a printout. Like I've been dealing with this all week.
Yeah, like I've spent more time repairing this thing than printing anything since I've gotten it, and I've printed a lot. So
I ran out of the bed adhesive that I normally use, and because of that, the prints don't stick as well. So I have to readjust my temperatures and my speeds, add a brim. I hate using a brim. You got to clean off all that crap, and they slice your fingers open.
At least you're not using a raft.
I use a brim every single print.
I stopped using them about a year ago. I got a textured PEI build plate, and I started using that nano adhesive.
Yeah.
You don't need one at all, even for nylon. You don't need a brim anymore.
Yeah.
Like you can print open air nylon with that stuff, and it works fine. But I had to switch back to like magic goo or something because I ran out of the other one, and miserable, absolutely miserable.
I don't even use anything to stick my prints down. I don't think I've ever had a problem with adhesion unless it was like the one or two times that I've tried printing ABS. Otherwise, everything has always stuck. I use TH3D's Easy Mats for most of my prints, and stuff is always stuck. And for like
PLA is easy, right?
PETG. For like PETG, I've done a lot, and for that to keep it from like fusing to it, I'll put a little like glue stick down, and then I'll wipe it off with some alcohol until it feels nice and slimy, and then you let it dry, and it
Trekkies mentions he needs more glue sticks, I assume for printing, not for sniffing.
Or don't eat them.
Yeah,
Throw
don't
them
eat
into
them.
the ocean.
Yeah.
I
use glue sticks.
Don't use glue sticks. Don't use glue sticks.
I use
Just
glue
buy
sticks.
actual bed adhesive, and it works so much better.
Glue sticks.
You'll never. You don't need a brim.
Here's my argument. A 3-pack of glue sticks is about $1.30 at the dollar store, and brim is 20 centimeters of extra filament printed. So it's like it's a hard sell trying to get me to buy all these fancy adhesives and junk.
I think if it's more for like if you're using like exotic filaments, then it'd be worth it. Because if you fail a print halfway through and your roll is like $90, then I think Vision Miner is worth it. But if
there's two main things. One is it takes a bit of effort to clean the glue stick off the print if you intend to paint your prints. I paint most of the.
It's water soluble.
Exactly. Now you're getting water embedded into a porous plastic print. And you're gonna,
right.
and if you want to, if I want to take something straight off my printer, go outside and spray it with primer immediately. I don't want a washing step in between.
It
So that's
all depends
one.
on your use case. Yep.
That is one important thing. Also,
What if you
I do switch filaments a lot. Well, you still have to clean it off.
Yeah,
it's
but
still
that
an extra
evaporates.
step.
That evaporates just like that, though.
Well, IPA is extremely caustic, and you shouldn't be breathing it. You got to do that like outside with a mask on.
You do a ton of the goo printing. Is it really that big of a deal?
No, yeah. I don't do the cleaning stage inside in like my shop space. It's terrible. The fumes off IPA are absolutely awful. They're some of the worst. But the other thing is I switch and I use basically every kind of filament there is, which includes a lot of nylon. Nylon will not hold down with your glue sticks.
Yes.
And if I have to change my bed adhesive between prints, between switching filaments, that means cleaning the bed off and letting it dry and reapplying a new. So for me, I do have to use one that actually holds. Like I had to use the Magic Goo shit. Well, I've got some nylon prints coming up, and I'm going to have to wash all of that stuff off, which is annoying because it's.
I mean, you could also, if you have like a magnet bed on your printer, you can just pop off one plate and put a different one on.
Yep.
That's
what I mean. There's use cases for everything.
Yeah, I have one that's covered in PEI powder coated, and
now could I convince you to use an actual good adhesive if it only costs $5 and it's enough to apply it about 10 times to a large bed, and you only need to apply it once every 3 months or so?
Maybe, but I'll say that I'll agree with you.
No residue.
I'll agree that glue stick does not work for nylon, but Mod Podge does work for carbon fiber nylon, from what I've found.
Yeah,
so,
that's an odd choice. I'd never heard of using Mod Podge for that.
So
it's just watered down Elmer's. That's all it is.
Basically, yeah. And that's what I originally used was just school glue, 50-50 mixed with water.
Mm-hmm.
You let it sit for a little bit and it dissolves into it. You pour that on, spread it across, heat up the build plate.
Mod Podge is just skipping a step. Yeah.
It does work really good. But again, it does leave you with, Elmer's glue, which is water soluble, and you can wash it off.
You're totally right. Like if I'm planning on printing a cosplay piece, I try to use absolutely zero glue because I know I'm going to be layering it with Bondo and filler and resin and paint and all that stuff. And I just don't want glue around. I don't want the PLA to be soaking up water, nylon, anybody like that. I don't want all that stuff. You're absolutely right. For my use cases recently, just been a glue stick. What's kind of weird though is that like I think that a lot of like, oh, you've got to do this stuff with 3D printers is entirely environmental, because I've had this Ender 3 printer at my other house before I lived in this one for like 3-4 years. Never once had to use any adhesive on the bed, glass or magnetic. I used both beds perfectly fine. PLA, TPU, nylon, everything that I tried, no issues. I moved into this house. I couldn't get a single thing to stick to the glass for like 3 months. And then I finally broke down and said, you know what, I'll finally use some glue stick and see if that works. And it's worked ever since. So, and it's literally like, I've tried a few times, like, okay, clean off all this glue stick crap. Let's just try it again. Maybe my settings were bad. Let's switch slicers. Let's just do a rebuild. Let's do this. Still can't get it to work, but glue stick makes it fit. So I just think it's got to be something, humidity, pressure, something. I don't know what it is, but I think it was a very clear delineation from never having to use glue to always having to use glue just from moving.
Yeah, I live somewhere that's hot most of the year, so I've got fans and AC running all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you get dust on the build plate a lot, which is kind of annoying.
Yep.
But yeah, temperature is always an issue. I don't have the thing enclosed because the printer's like this big, and if I add a box around it, then that's like a whole corner of my shop gone.
One thing you can do for dust is if you go to like Goodwill and you find one of those old CRT monitor covers, like those big plastic tent things that you'd put over them. I found one at Goodwill. It was like $1. I just pop that over my printer when I'm not using it because my house is apparently made of dust.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it works. It works great.
the lac enclosure, $20 and some 3D parts. Although everybody says that, and then they always forget to mention the cost of acrylic. Those sheets are expensive, man.
Very true.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're just lac tables. They're only $20, and then it's like $60 for the acrylic to get cut.
Oh, not to
It's not that
mention the prices of acrylic have gone up like 8 times over what they were a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid expensive. The last time I went to buy some, I was like, oh, I'm gonna just change my whole project I was working on.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta like go to like Home Depot and look around their parking lots. Because on 2 occasions now, I've found full sheets of 1/4-inch plexiglass, like a full like 1/4 inch. This is the good stuff, and it's just laying there just because one corner is broken. Maybe it fell off someone's truck, but it's coming home with me because the rest of it's still good. So.
I've gotten a lot of like smaller pieces just by going into Lowe's and Home Depot and just being like, you got a scrap piece? I'm just looking for like 250 by 250, and they're like, oh yeah, here you go. Like, cool, thanks.
Yeah, it's nice on occasion. I used to have a pretty good supply for that. Lived next to a factory that I think they made fish tanks, maybe.
Ooh,
something like that.
Good
So
choice.
I'd get some like 1/2 inch, 3/4 acrylic, and they were always like just the in cuts, pretty good size chunks of it. Annoyingly, they actually just started selling the scraps. Like, I guess they realized that they could have been selling it the whole time. They used to just stack it next to the trash can so anyone could come take it. They didn't dump it in with the trash. They stacked it nicely, off to the side so anyone could come by and grab it. And then they started, like it was gone. So I went and asked them about it, and they're like, oh yeah, we're just, you can buy it now. We have it here behind the counter.
Oh no.
Yeah. Someone's lunch money,
Yeah, they got wise. Yeah.
I kind of miss those days too where, every single office, everywhere, just they would have piles of computers next to the trash bins. No one wanted to pay to recycle it. You couldn't put it in the trash bin because you're not allowed to throw away certain things like CRTs. And
if you
there
use
used to
black
just be
trash
towers.
bags, no one knows.
Yeah, there used to just be towers everywhere, towers and laptops, until I think people got wise to the idea that you need to properly dispose of the data contained in those drives. Realize
I'll watch like EEV blog, and he'll just go into that garbage room and just find like a $200,000 oscilloscope that just needs like a wire reconnected inside.
Yeah,
and it's just like, why can't I find some cool shit? Like, I usually just get like a hobo that tries to knife me or something or whatever. When you're there's nothing cool around here.
I'll drop your YouTube link here in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Although at least like for batteries, car batteries, you don't have to worry about recycling them. Just throw them into the ocean. It's just cheap, it's safe, it's legal. No one can stop you, and it's the only way that you can recharge the electric eels. So you are helping the environment.
Pretty sure it's not quite right.
It is. I
don't know enough about eels to argue this.
It's a safe and legal thrill. Just throw your used batteries directly into the ocean. And
the Cyberdeck Cafe does not condone this action.
We do. Totally do it. It's cheap and it's totally legal, and you're helping the environment.
Oh man, how many cats do you have?
Just the 2. He's gone. He's a little more squirmy than the other one. 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 fish.
Big dog.
Yeah.
2 of everything.
2 fish.
I had to think about that. I was like, oh yeah, I guess we have 2 of those too. I had 2 spiders on the porch for a while, but one's passed. It's really sad. You guys ever do that? Like follow a spider growing on your porch?
No, I usually avoid them at all costs.
No.
Yeah, like some house spiders that live up in the corners. They take care of on occasion when a mosquito gets in the house.
Yeah. So I live in the
backyard,
south. So
nice big sun spider. Orb weaver. Huge one has been just getting bigger and bigger out there. I almost walked right into it the first day I saw it. It was just like, I was stuck to its web. So as I pulled away, it kept getting closer because I'm pulling the web with me. It's just like, what the fuck? Why are you getting closer?
Yeah. You got the big golden orb weaver ones that are just like right on our porch. I took a picture of it like once a week at least. And it finally got I just got an OBS notification. I guess somebody subscribed to me. I have to turn that off. But yeah, I was following that one along for a while and like disappeared for like 2-3 weeks, and then all of a sudden it popped back up. So I'm sure it has an egg sac somewhere around here, but I couldn't find it.
One time I was picking up, I think it was a couple towels that I had because it was just or clothes that was on the floor that I hadn't put in the laundry basket or the hamper yet, and underneath was a spider with an egg sac. I freaked the fuck out. I practically, oh god, that was frightening. And it was in the house, and I'm like trying to find something because I didn't want to pop the egg sac open because then I'd have to burn my entire house down. Yeah.
I like spiders that stay in their webs. I like those guys.
You can go outside.
I was Valrum. Thank you for the follow.
I just followed you too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you gotta get those numbers going.
I do. I need to. So that
double digits.
I don't know if anybody cares, and stop me if this is boring, but that link is my live channel on YouTube. I do have another channel that is in my description and about and stuff that I'll have more edited content onto. Right now it just has really crappy drone flight videos, so there you go. But hopefully I'll have some more stuff out there. But I do plan on streaming more and more often.
Just YouTube, or do you do Twitch also? Or
I did Twitch for a while. I got in the affiliate, so I was doing okay, but I just kind of plateaued and stopped for a year or so. And then when I wanted to start really getting back into it this year, I was just still following along with what was going on with Twitch, and I was just like, nah. So I was just like, yeah, I'll just give YouTube a shot. And YouTube's just got just being able to click into the analytics and see your impression rates, and you can actually tell that they are doing something. It might not be a lot. You're still a small person streaming on the internet, but they're doing something to get you out there. With Twitch, you didn't really get that feeling. You could make affiliate and it still felt like you are your own business manager. There's no related, there's no suggested. YouTube at least does that for you.
It's harder to get monetized on YouTube, though, I think, isn't it?
Definitely. But here's the thing is, I got affiliate. I was one of the first round of affiliates on Twitch. And the thing is, you have to, it's every 30 days, make over $100 to get the check. So if you don't make $100, you're not getting a check. And if you get a check,
roll over.
It doesn't. Oh no! They hold on to the money until you make it, because they're not cutting a whole bunch of $2.50 checks for people when they get their first subscriber. They're just we're going to hold it on for you, and then when you hit this limit, then we'll cut you a check. Whereas YouTube is very, it's across the board. Everybody has the exact same thing. You need 1,000 hours of watch time or something like that. It's 1,000 hours of watch time. Now. 4,000 hours of watch time and some number of subscribers, whatever. And at the end of the day, YouTube, Twitch and YouTube, you weren't making money off ad revenue. Twitch, you were making money off subscribers for the most part, but you're not making it off ads. And YouTube monetization is ads. So
and it's people, low. What, a million views, you're going to make maybe $5. Maybe.
Yeah. Like
somewhere between like $2 and $5.
Like when you see people who are 200 to 400,000 subscribers on YouTube quitting their day jobs, going YouTube full time, and buying YouTube like a studio space or something like that, it's because they are also selling T-shirts, they are also selling memberships, they are also having a Patreon. There are other ways to make money.
Too.
So like the argument of like Twitch or YouTube paying out better, at the end of the day, I don't think that's really going to matter to most people. Most people aren't relying on ad revenue.
Okay. Not anymore, at least not since the great purge of YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Twitch is like, YouTube's kind of a mess. It definitely has its problems, but Twitch just seems like it's actively trying to hurt itself from the inside out. So I don't know what's going on there. But no, it's.
I'll be back in just a moment here. I need to go feed my dog.
Okay.
Can you bring Jake back?
I will. I'll bring her in after she'll be a little calmer then too.
Jake is adorable.
She's going nuts, scratching at my door.
She's adorable. Yeah. You haven't seen her before.
Yes, but yes, talk amongst yourself. Back in 2 minutes.
So that's just
wrong button. Wrong.
So, while the mods are asleep, what would be best to glue an acorn back together? If anyone has any suggestions,
damn it, Blasto.
By all means, just drop it in there. Do you think E6000? I mean, you can see this is a very nice acorn.
I mean, I will ask this
very
question.
Very shapely.
And we won't even have to get onto adhesives. We won't even have to argue about what type of adhesives we need specifically for this project. I'm going to ask a different question that might give us the answer, though. Is an acorn wood?
I don't know.
Is it wood? Because if it's wood, you just use wood glue. Is an acorn wood?
That is true. I do have wood glue. We could try this. And
but isn't acorn wood? Are leaves wood? Would you use wood glue on leaves?
You can eat acorns, which is really weird. Like people can eat these.
Yeah. Like,
what does this taste like? I kind of want.
I've had an acorn mash. It's think of like a gamey walnut pecan sort of thing that's bitter, like a walnut. Like a gamey or like a bitter almond that's gamey. That's the best way to put it.
Okay. I kind of want to try wood glue. If anybody else has any other suggestions, I've got wood glue, I've got super glue, I've got E6000, I've got every sort of tape imaginable. And one of the best things is these are free. You can just go up to any tree and just pull one off, and the police can't stop you. They can't dip it in a vat of resin and epoxy. Well, I don't have resin. That is one thing I don't have. But I also want to cut this in half and see what's in it on the bandsaw. But I don't want to ruin this acorn because it is a nice acorn.
What if you bandsaw it in half and then cast it in epoxy where it's just like separated?
That would be pretty cool.
That would be super cool.
An acorn is a nut and not wood.
I don't know. Are nuts or are nuts wood?
You need wood to nut.
Not everybody else.
Demonetized. All right, we need a vote in chat. Do I cut this acorn in half, see what's in it, or do I glue the cap back on? Cast your votes now, America. This is the content that you've wanted. You know it is, all you viewers. Will Blasto cut his acorn? Who knows?
Can you get some calipers, take some measurements of the acorn, and create,
I can do that.
Perfect,
absolutely.
TPU case.
Let me go do that. I will get some calipers and we will measure this bad boy.
the best way to burn time. Ooh, hey. He's back.
You guys are still talking about acorns.
No, he's just gonna measure it. It's fine. We're kind of
Don't worry
trailing
about it.
off.
We got this. Go.
Yeah, we got it.
We don't. You can go. Let's measure this bad boy here. Now, are we measuring it with the cap or without? We'll do a with measurement first because that doesn't involve the cap. This acorn is 18.13 millimeters wide.
It's a good acorn size.
It's a good
Are you
size
gonna make
nut.
a stand for it?
A
Like
nice,
little
a nice
display?
thick
It's
nut.
It's not a jumbo acorn, but it's definitely in
true.
the large to extra large. It's definitely in
And
there.
with the cap, it is 31.4. So it's a long boy. It is a long.
Yeah,
long
it's
boy.
more about the length and the girth when it comes to
Yeah.
acorns.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is totally derailed. I'm sorry. Why did you?
So I'm thinking wood glue. Wood glue. We're gonna do this live. We're gonna glue this acorn back together live on stream.
Yeah, but
We
Boo,
have the technology to fix him.
what's your opinion? Is an acorn wood?
Cellulose.
That's an answer.
Okay, that tight bond.
It's cellulose. Like it
Yeah.
should kind of react similar.
Yeah. I wonder, do you have to like score the?
The wood
Score
glue's
the-
not gonna. Wood glue's not gonna work though,
It's not. Why not?
No.
because I've tried it before.
You've glued
On an
acorns
acorn.
back together. I find that hard to believe.
You
never did arts and crafts when you were a kid, and you like collect acorns and glue them to a frame and stuff.
No, we used like macaroni and rocks and garbage.
We did pine cones. You
We were
put glue
poor.
outside of pine cones and put glitter and stuff on them.
All right. So
I mean, I was
will
poor too. Macaroni cost money. Acorns were free.
Pine cones.
See, I told you guys, they're free. The cops can't stop you. You can just take them. Okay, so acorn has been scored. I know you're all at the edge of your seat for this. Little dot of glue. Oh, do we need a clamp? We should get a clamp.
This is so far beyond what is
Right back,
necessary.
we're gonna get a clamp.
Well, you know what they say: anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Yep, you're right. You're right.
This is not worth doing.
Okay.
It's okay. No one's watching.
Yeah.
Literally,
nobody.
nobody's watching. Actually, my view count is just set 1 the whole time, even though there are more people than this in the chat, which is
There
kind
are
of
active,
annoying. But
active comments, and it's saying 1. So I know I'm watching at least.
Okay. See that the clamp it's tricky. It's tricky to clamp your nuts.
Yeah. You gotta.
you should have 3D printed a holder first, so that
I
you could
should have
properly
That's-
clamp
it's-
it.
That's lack of forethought on my part. I'm sorry.
You have to do the what's that? The big cyclical bench vise that
A
did the
C-clamp?
rounds. Yeah, that
Oh,
huge.
the fractal vice.
Yeah, the fractal vise. That's it.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yeah. Man, that just like one YouTube video, and then it's just like you couldn't get away from it. It was every inch of the internet was
Well,
covered.
don't ever dare watch one video, or YouTube will then recommend the same shit to you, even something you've seen multiple times.
Oh, it
Now they
wasn't
think
just
you
like
really
YouTube.
like it.
Yeah, it was like I'd go on Reddit and
Oh,
there
yeah,
were people
that-
posting all their fractal
think
vices.
It
what
went
I'm gonna do-
everywhere.
Yeah.
See, there he is. He's got his little hat on again. He's good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put him in the hole in the center of the table on my drill press. So he can just sit there. He can chill out. He can dry. and we'll come back to him on another episode.
Put some googly eyes on it.
That's a wonderful idea. That is a wonderful idea. I will do that. I have to buy some tiny ones. I only have big ones.
Maybe you could 3D print some.
No. You need real googly eyes. Some things you can make, some things are better to buy.
What if you get the that like little 3D print in place? I just dropped my vape. 3D print in place like an octopus with the tentacles. Just do that, but instead of the octopus head in the center, just like a little cup.
Acorn cup.
Acorn
Yes. That is a good idea as well.
There you go. You can have that one for free.
Acorn.
Octocorn.
Yeah.
So that's why I got a tipple hour-long talk. I don't know what the hell that means. Blasto will need a couple thousand samples. Yes.
It's a lot of samples.
Joseph E. just says howdy. We've just been gluing acorns together. It's been very productive.
Anyone just joining the stream, just go ahead and rewind it a bit. And when you get to this part, skip it.
You kidding me? This is the best part. This is, at least I think this is what the content that people want, Boot.
I do have something, though, I think would be cool to show. The gallery of completed cyber decks is quite full now and has had a lot of entries since the last live stream because it's been like 3 months. I thought I'd pull up a screen share here and we can just
roll
check out some of these
bean footage.
Check out some of these crazy looking things people have made. Let's see. Share screen. I want to share my whole screen.
I should make a cyber deck out of acorns.
I was just thinking, if we make a single board computer, like if we make a CyberDeck Cafe first party single board computer, we're gonna have to just call it like the Acorn Pie or something.
There you go.
I mean, the acorn's already taken.
Oh, it is that. Damn it.
Yeah, that's been a thing for a while. Although it's so old now, you might be able to just take it anyway. No one will remember.
Wood glue smells weird.
It smells like dead horses.
Delicious.
Well, it's made from dead horses, but you know.
Is it still?
Probably not. I bet you it's fucking PLA. Well, it's PVA.
Yeah,
nowadays,
PVA.
right?
Yeah. Polyvinyl acidic.
Doesn't really tell you what's in it.
No, just says school
So
glue.
we'll have to give it the good old taste test.
It is legally has to be non-toxic because so many stupid people eat it. All right. Do we have the screen share up? All you guys can see it.
Yeah, we see the Discord.
Wait, now it says I have 0 viewers. Great. We've lost our 1 viewer.
Even Trakias is like, I got better shit to do than this.
All right. First one up here. Any idea what retro computer this thing was built from?
That looks like a Commodore 128, but painted black.
Wait,
It looks like an Atari flashback. Oh, man.
Never mind. C64C shell reproduction.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. We had a couple people in the group that were building decks from reproduction shells, but man, they went silent quite a while ago. I don't know what happened to them.
Reproduction shells are also stupid expensive now.
Yeah, they were doing one out of, I think both of them were Apple IIs or something.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. This one's pretty neat, though. It's got the, it looks like the Pomeroni matrix dot display.
Pyrex trackball.
Yeah, I've got one of those. It's actually pretty decent. Scroll wheel doesn't really work, but
now,
the rest
is the
isn't
ball
bad.
retained in there?
Yes.
Or does it fall out? Because that's always my worry. Like if I
No,
put
it
I
is
don't want my
retained.
ball just falling out.
No, you don't. There is a locking ring that you can remove so you can clean your ball.
Oh, okay. Good ball ring.
Yeah.
This one's pretty cool. Raspberry Pi computer screen, Pi is mounted behind it.
Who made this one?
I like the aesthetic of it. This one is from Peace Hippie.
Peace Hippie, very cool.
It's very cool. Actually, we haven't seen much about this one. We're gonna have to bug them to crack it open and take some internal shots.
If you're watching Peace Hippie, how'd you like to write an article on it?
We know he's not watching.
That's true. Nobody's
No
watching.
one's watching. What do we got next? A broken
Amstrad NC100. Very nice.
Ooh, I don't think I even saw this one before.
I like that.
It could use a little cleaning up around the bezel here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's part of the cyberpunk scavenged kind of aesthetic. You find some, old computer in an alleyway and you chop it up and
that's true.
That and stuff.
But there's nothing wrong with a little polish as well. But I do like this. I have one of those wide boy displays, and it actually looks pretty good. Good viewing angles on it too. We got next in here a few parts. Looks like we've got a future deck in the works. That's dual screens, dual.
Wait, is that 3 screens? What's that other? Oh no,
those look like Hall
these
screens.
little OLEDs.
Yeah, I was gonna say these are joysticks. These are like the little OLED boards and displays here. Well, see, now I'm more interested. I want to see what they're doing. Maybe they're making a little custom game controller.
It looks like either like a 2-person like arcade cabinet, like screens on either side for like a battle.
That could be. These
cool.
Joysticks could be being used like old school joysticks.
Yeah. Either that or like a camera control robot arm. Use the joysticks control a robot arm monitor for the camera.
This one reminds me a lot of wasn't it Buffalo that won the
Cyber Buffalo from
competition? Yeah, this one reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah, definitely got the same kind of aesthetic. Even the color scheme with the black and red.
Yeah.
I like this. Another use of possibly the wave share or a similar widescreen. Nice and simple, looks very functional and something that, anyone could knock out.
Good old wide boy.
Yeah. And, you don't really need a case on everything. This kind of naked design, if you're going to have a few exposed parts, it doesn't really matter.
Goes towards the aesthetic.
Yeah, and functional too. This one looks like we've got a laptop in a waterproof case, and I remember talking about this one. I think they've added a bunch of other electronics inside the case. Just hook up like a USB-C to it and have all the expansion in there. But back to the idea of laptops, you can get a quad-core i7 based machine with 8 gigs of RAM for pretty cheap, especially if it has a broken LCD attached to it. If you want to source a machine where you already have the power sorted and everything else, and yeah, definitely can be a good way to do it. For a moment there, I thought this was MSG's cyber deck, but this is a reproduction of it. One of the many duplicates that have been built. Although this one, I think, is definitely one of the best, most complete of the reproductions. Really cool system that he built. I don't know if this one is the dual system, but the original.
It's got the Nook button and the Raspberry Pi button in the front, so
That's true.
Probably.
Intel Nook and then RPi, or whichever system you want. There's a KVM switch inside of there. It's got that same Pyromony dot LED display. Also an e-ink up there. Definitely crammed a lot into a small device. More than I was able to fit on any of my cyber decks so far.
Speaking of your cyber decks, I've seen a couple virtue scopes on Instagram lately. I don't know if they're new ones or if people reposting them or what, but
they're actually I think they're all in the gallery here coming up. Got a render here, a pretty cool one. I recognize that trackball. That's the one that you can buy from Adafruit, which is like kind of a plastic module that's meant to be embedded into something else. I like the retro styling on this. This kind of reminds me of a TV from the 50s or something.
Yeah.
I'd like to see this one actually get made. I like that steampunk aesthetic. Kind of the render here. This one looks like the security system controller.
Looks like a DRO for like a lathe or a mill.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
With a wide boy screen.
Yeah.
This one here is just keyboard and screen. I assume everything else is kind of hidden behind it, but nothing wrong with that. And if you plan to use your deck at home, you could just have a keyboard and screen hooked up, to a thin client, for instance. Something off in the corner, and just have a wire running to it. And I'd recommend that anyway if you're not planning on.
What incarnation is that?
Oh, that is a PDA with a fold-out serial keyboard or IR keyboard, and that is a cantenna for the Wi-Fi to get presumably 50 foot of range instead of 20 foot of range.
I like that. That's cool.
That is old school right there. Let's see if we can zoom in. Probably not. There we go. Enhance. No.
It's not working, but
I like it though. That is an old one, man. That's an early deck right there. Probably was running Windows CE on it, 3.1 or something.
I liked those little keyboards that would fold up for those little Palm Pilots. I always thought those were really cool.
Yeah, I've got one sitting in a box somewhere.
Bongo Playing Monkeys is one of my absolute favorite decks.
This was from Ray Shack, which I've never heard from this person, but glad that they popped something up in the gallery.
Absolutely love this one.
Yeah, really cool build. I built this from a radio. I think he was trying to keep some of the gauges working as well.
Yep, the VU meter is the power gauge on there for the battery.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's just really cool.
Well,
Been following this one along on Instagram. I really do like his build.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool device, and it's very unique. Definitely unique to each person.
And it definitely has that 80s vibe too. It's like it's literally made from a boombox, which is
Another one from
can't
Bongo
get much
Player
more
Monkey.
80s.
Got a split keyboard here. So it's a fun little project. Maybe that'll end up in another deck. Let's see, from Dim Nuisance. Got ourselves a cell phone based deck, which I think is another great idea because a lot of us have extra cell phones and tablets sitting around, and that's a nice way to reuse it.
Yeah.
Is that a flashlight next to it?
I think so.
Yeah,
maybe it's one of those batteries.
It's like a bike flashlight.
This is the battery here.
Yeah, is that a flashlight? That's weird.
Multi-function, It's
It was a corn. It was a corn keyboard.
So I don't think a lot of people know those USB-C docks that they sell, like the big breakout dongle boards for your laptop. You can just plug those into any Android phone. It gives you full mouse, keyboard, USB drive, HDMI. Like Android phones support every single port on those things.
Yeah, except for the HDMI, that's hit or miss. It depends on the phone.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's still just pass through. It's like a DisplayPort pass through that they use. So
yes,
it has to support it, but a lot of them do. And if you actually look when you go to buy a new phone, just buy one that supports it, and then you have that option.
Do you remember that one Motorola phone that had like that laptop thing that you could like plug it into?
Yeah,
I don't know about Motorola, but there's
the
Asus
cool.
E phone, the E PC.
Was it Asus?
It was Asus like Z100 or something like that.
Yeah, you slipped it in the back, and then you had an external keyboard, screen, mouse. Made it kind of into a laptop. There's another version of that, which I actually bought one of, and it's meant to plug into same thing, basically any phone, any device.
Leaf, I think, is the new company.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. The thing I can't recommend it to anyone is a complete piece of garbage. It does not work.
Next dock or something like that.
It was like an overstock item, and they wrote a driver for it so that a Raspberry Pi could output the display over USB, and that was the hardware. It's just completely trash. It even squeaks really loudly when you like open it, or if you try and type on it, it squeaks the whole time because the plastic is like that terrible like chrome covered cheap plastic. It's bad. I was hoping to make it into a some kind of device, something, but it's nothing about it is worth recycling.
That deck there that's from Minmin, I think what I like the most about it, you can't see it in the picture there, but is the hinges that they made. Because I love a good pair of like weird hinges. And that one had like these two curved pieces that would like kind of like move it back. It was just really cool. And I think they said it was just like GoPro hinges or mounts or whatever, but it was, I don't know, I really liked it.
We'll have to get them to put a few more pictures up, maybe a video of it in action. For some reason, people ask a lot, how do you make the hinges? It's like,
well, hinges are weird.
2 holes and a pin in it, you know?
Well, I mean, that's just like a regular hinge, but like,
right.
You know, like the cooler ones, like the one on that keyboard that I was trying to emulate for a while, that I never figured out how to do it properly. Like, some of those are pretty cool. We even had a whole chat thread for hinges in the past, if I recall.
That's my point, is they're not that difficult.
They're cool.
Here we've got a iPad-based deck. Another great option.
Yeah.
And you could, also add like a Raspberry Pi into this mix and be displaying, using the iPad as the display if you wanted to have a full Linux system. Another cool build. I do really dig the reusing an old system. Looks like they kind of shoehorned in a ortholinear keyboard in there. Wonder if the arrow keys, if they were able to get them working.
See, I just got an iPad mini, the new one with the USB-C on the bottom. I kind of want to make a deck out of that. Like, even if it's just like a keyboard and like a pointer of some sort. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because it's the right size.
You should do it. 3D print a little case for it, or maybe like do like a book cover style,
Yeah, because you can use the magnets that are built into the back that connect to that little flip flap cover they have. I could use that to mount it. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, some 3D printed hinges and maybe an external battery just to weigh down the bottom part so it stays upright.
Yeah. Oh, MU's build is also another one of my favorites.
Dude, yeah,
it's just
definitely
out of the park with the
Is
aesthetic.
that a Picatinny reel on this?
It is, and the handle that is a rifle handle.
Yeah.
Excellent build, and even just the production quality here. This image, it looks right. This looks like a screenshot from a video game.
It does,
and that's always worth doing. Like, if you're going to build something, take the time to try and take some good pictures. Like, stage the shot, get good lighting, whatever it takes, even if it's terrible lighting and you make it black and white and give it some, an aesthetic to it. Take the time to make a nice image like this. It definitely sells it. Even if the deck is like held together with chewing gum, you can hide that part.
I wonder if that QR looking tracker element he has on the screen and on the image is actually readable in some way, or if it's just for aesthetic.
I don't know. You'd have to.
Well, I'm pointing my camera on my phone at it, and it's not doing anything. So
yeah,
doesn't mean it doesn't. You might just need a specific AR VR app to point at it.
Yeah,
true.
We got here, and that was from Mew. Got from Jeff Feb 3.
That was his home automation controller, wasn't it? If memory serves.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is in depth for home automation. That is nice.
And a painful keyboard to
Is
use
that
right
like
there.
Grafana for Home Assistant or something? I don't know. I'll have to look into that one. I'll have to follow him.
That's nice though. Like if you just had that sitting on the end table and, instead of having some
Yeah,
tablet mounted on the wall, that'd be a nice piece to have on display.
Yep.
for sure.
Never type on it. Never type on it.
It was at like 30%.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's a from Dr. Wade, a recent Cyberdeck. This is the Virtue Scope that I designed a few years ago.
Yeah.
I really like this one. I actually like this one more than the one that I built. The prints are incredibly clean, and
The sticker bomb placement is just like on point too. Like it looks great. I like it.
And this one was built with the intention of, put whatever you want in it. Just, clean up all of your projects, your wires, your Raspberry Pi with a screen and stuff, and, stick it all in a decent looking box so that it's mostly so you don't break it. Like I got tired of, having loose boards on the table and risking, spilling water or just breaking off a surface mount component. I've definitely broke a few Raspberry Pis.
Yep.
Which is too bad because now they're worth a fortune. But yeah, I do like this one. Can't, of course, help but like it because I designed the case. But
No, that's pretty cool.
It is one of the best looking Cyberdecks out there.
That is nice. Yeah.
What do we got here? Is this a grid laptop?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, this is like some people will get angry, some people will like it. One of those things,
I think the grid laptops and just look cool as all heck. Like having that part behind where the hinge goes, and I mean, if they're getting upset because it's using an old thing, it's better than dumping it in a. It's better than dumping it in a landfill. And if it didn't work already, it may not have been fixable.
This design of a laptop, it really is the perfect shape and size for building your own. Enough room for whatever display you want, enough room to put a Raspberry Pi or something in the back of it. The aesthetic of it was not lost on me when I designed this. It was exactly what I had in mind for it. Same idea, same kind of shape. And
I took a little bit of inspiration from that for metal too, because I always liked that hinge in the middle of the deck kind of look.
It's function, and the screen's protected, the keyboard's protected when it's closed. It makes sense. New laptops, they do the same thing. They just, none of it's protected because the screen is 3 millimeters thick.
I think what's also,
you look at it wrong, it'll break.
The hidden benefit of that is it also probably would stay on your lap a lot better, because when you open a laptop and you have the screen all the way open and all the way back, it could fall off of you. So I think the center of
especially
gravity,
with the ultralights, the MacBook Airs, it barely is off center on the weight.
Yep, absolutely. No, that is cool.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen this one before.
Yeah, I forget who did this. I invited them in from Instagram. I think it was like Projects with Dad or something. I forget who it was.
That's cool. We'll have to send a message follow up on that one. What do we got else in here? Ronwi. I'm not going to try and read it. You can see it on the screen. Nice. Looks like we've got maybe an overclocked Raspberry Pi in there. Definitely got the heatsink going. All the power.
Jeez, that is a tower.
I like this. Looks like he found himself a keyboard with the trackball built in. I bet you that was a like a Goodwill find.
It's a Perix keyboard, I've seen that one on Amazon.
Some green acrylic, that's always a nice, nice aesthetic. And it actually looks like it's been cut, scored, and bent properly, like, not jagged edges and stuff.
Yeah.
There was some effort put into that. I appreciate it. And no display, because, hey, you don't always need one. You probably have one on your desk that you can use. Maybe they like CRTs and they don't want to strap that to it. I like that there's no real, there's no right way to do it.
What's going on here?
You know what? I don't remember which user it is.
Car battery?
This guy, I've talked to him a few times. It's been a while though. He likes to recycle stuff, and he's got all these kind of like a little art display next to like the recycling bin, and it's all these like recycled items that you can take, little boxes and things that he's made from the stuff that gets thrown away. And he built himself a cyber deck using the same aesthetic. Puts googly eyes on everything for some reason.
Recycling is very cyberpunk.
But I like it, obviously making use of what they had available.
Except batteries. Just throw those into the ocean. Those don't get recycled.
Right.
Don't forget the eels.
Yes. And we got one here linking out externally. What we got?
Oh, that's the one from Min Min with the hinges I was talking about.
Ah, okay. So we do got all the photos of it. Oh, nice. Some kind of a telescoping hinge. The DOS blank keyboard.
We can't see it, by the way.
You can't see it. Damn.
Nope.
Oh, that means that you couldn't see it every time I enlarge the photos either, because it's opening them in Chrome. All right, let me go back here and I'll reshare. If only someone had told me sooner, because I was opening them up large in Chrome for everyone to see.
Nobody knew what you were doing.
It wouldn't be technical difficulties without them.
Well, we've had a technical difficulty, so that means we all have to drink now.
What, you haven't been? Just kidding, of course. All right, here we go. Now it's showing.
I like the look of this. I just do. It looks cool. The way it folds over there. I like a good hinge.
It's a nice one. There's a bit of black electrical tape on it, so might not have the longevity, but you can always replace the tape. It definitely has the aesthetic down, and it's functional. The screen is still, accessible while it's folded, so you could almost say it's a tablet. Nice, and very wearable too.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
It's simple, and it's effective, and it's cool.
All right, let's. I think we still have even a few more to show, so let's get down that list. And there's a lot of. Yeah, we have a lot of new entries in the gallery, and several that I had missed myself. It's always cool to see.
It's a decklet, according to Trekius.
A decklet.
A wild decklet appeared. It used earthquake.
All right. What do we got up next?
Ooh, another wide boy.
From Kanar. Yeah, another really nice looking build too. Looks like we've got bulkhead style connectors up here for all the USB and probably power as well.
I love it.
Yeah, those are great little connectors. I've got a few of them.
What is that? Is that the? Oh, that's this.
Okay. That's the keyboard. I'm not entirely sure how it folds up.
I think it folds backwards.
Maybe, yeah.
If you see where the handle is, on this picture, and it's on the left side over here.
Yeah, you're right. So the screen is visible on the other side.
That's pretty cool. It's like one of those yoga books or whatever they're called.
Is that the touch widescreen? Because then you can just like flip it to one side and.
Most likely.
Yeah,
there's not very many. It's hard to buy anything without the touch screen anyway.
Yeah.
I like it because it's just like a built-in screen protector. I'll pay an extra $10 for that.
Basically.
Not entirely sure what this one is, but I like the looks of it. A little LCD in there and some kind of SBC down below. There we go. We got another Pelican case style. This one's actually pretty tiny. I have one of those keyboards, so I know that's probably about a 10-inch case. Nice and simple, use the foam to secure everything in place. Might as well. It comes with the box. I like this build. Clean.
I want to build something like that. I bought one of those cases from Harbor Freight for like $10. I know it's nowhere near as good as quality as the Pelican, but I don't know. After seeing Back 7 do so much cool stuff with those, I gotta do it.
Let's see. And this was from SoCal Off Grid. Very cool. This one from Zeus. Yeah, he's been teasing these renders for a while and showing little bits of the project.
Did he write an article? I think I asked him to. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know. I've talked to him on Twitter for quite a long time. I might be my fault that he even knows about CyberDecks.
You're a bad influence, Boo.
I know. This is a CM4 motherboard, carrier board with a mechanical keyboard built into the PCB.
Oh.
This is a insanely complex project.
Is this Nam to Zeus?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did write an article on it.
What's it on Twitter? It's Sulfaroid or something.
I have no clue. But he did write an article on it, so I don't know if it was posted yet or not. But
did he send it to us to put up?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Oh shit, I don't remember. I'll have to check the cafe, see if I did put it up.
Actually, maybe he didn't send it yet.
So I don't remember.
Okay, you're right. I just read the conversation.
Okay, it's good because
he's adding a 4G.
I think I would have remembered because I've talked to him about this one for a long time.
Yeah, he said he's going to add a 4G chip modem for it and a LoRa option too.
That'd be cool.
That's my favorite form factor for a deck is just the keyboard and a long boy screen like that. I think that just looks cool.
But like the next one, and it's worth mentioning, he put the PCB up, so I hope some people go out and build this thing.
He said they sold out almost instantly. So
yeah, I hope we see some reproductions of that. Long boy screen, keyboard, nice and clean, simple, but a hinge. Because really, you got to be able to hinge the screen up so you can angle it, so you can actually see it and not have it be, distorted because of the angle. I think that's an important touch that every CyberDeck needs is just add a hinge. So it doesn't even have to hinge all the way up and over, just to be able to put even a 15-degree angle on it.
These remind me of from Evangelion, like when they were taking apart the Magi computers. So you see like Ritsuko with her like little keyboard tablet thing. It looks just
she had one. It was basically like an HX20 style from the 80s, which I have one of those that I've been meaning to cut up and install some stuff into it, but I ran into a bit of a roadblock with the keyboard. It's impossible to adapt the keyboard.
That keyboard in that deck that you have up, I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me, but I know that they make like full-size keyboards and number pads and a few other things, and they all have that little tiny yellow OLED screen and the see-through PCB with all the resistors lined up.
This is a sort of off the shelf keyboard.
I can't remember the name of it though. Can't.
I don't either. This one actually popped up first on, on /MK on Reddit, and then we invited him over here. And then I think the person was surprised to see there's an entire group that builds the things that he was building. It's always a nice surprise too.
Where's the computer in this though? Is it just a display, or is there a Pi behind there?
I think there's a Pi Zero tucked in behind the screen, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those wires are definitely going to the Pi behind the screen.
Could just be whatever's connecting here. Yeah, maybe they've got it. So using it as a terminal. I like it though. I think it's a very clean design.
It is very cool.
Oh,
Soapbox did write an article. He's the person who did write an article.
Yes. This is another really cool one. These are cast resin parts, which I think is just an awesome way to do it. Printed, filled it, sanded smooth, all that stuff, and then made the molds and actually cast this part, and I think this one as well.
And it uses a phone too. Again, it's another one that uses a cell phone with a USB-C on it.
Right, and that mount, you could throw a screen in it, a phone, a tablet. It kind of leaves it open for whatever device. I really like the aesthetics on this one too. Like it, the keyboard color doesn't exactly match. It could use a little bit of a masking and paint job there, but the overall, the shapes, the curves on it, matching the curves here on the curves here and here, it's a very cohesive thing. And doing the resin casting, again, very nice touch.
You don't see that too much on here. I don't think I've ever seen it before on a Cyberdeck, actually.
I think the closest thing to that would be the resin printed corners that I put on my ArcPi 4000. The semi-transparent, kind of greenish clear resin, but they were printed. I didn't have to cast them. Yeah, that's another good one. And I got here the last one up, the Pocket Deck from Smeeth. This one's pretty cool too. He's been working on this for a while. Got one of those keyboards that's made for like a cell phone or a PDA, some thing that was like new in a box off eBay that's 10 years old or 20 years old. Definitely went through some hell trying to get this keyboard mapped out properly. It's missing a few keys. But yeah, very cool build. There's a Raspberry Pi Zero under there. I suppose now he could upgrade that to a Pi Zero 2 and get a lot more power out of it. Adafruit voltage controller, battery back there, some extra switches attached to GPIO, and a tiny little screen, but still enough resolution to use it for a terminal or something. I really like the overall presentation of this. Like, this looks like something that came straight out of a 90s hacker movie. Like, this was the thing they used to, hack into the key card access control system at the data center that they were breaking into.
Yeah, that pieced together, like hand, like made in a basement somewhere,
Yeah, but still very clean.
With
that little PCB and the switches and everything.
This is what movie prop departments wished they could make. And it actually works and does the thing that they'd want it to do.
Exactly. And, if you want to use it in a hacker movie, you might as well just, run Kali on it and actually, run Kali and actually show the actual piece of software you would run to accomplish the hack that they're showing in the movie. Like, there's no reason not to just
Can you run
use
Kali
the
on
real
a Zero?
Not well.
No, not really, but
maybe on a Zero 2.
I mean, half of those packages are command lines, so you can install 80% of what is Kali as a distro on a, any Linux distro you want. Because that's all that's all Kali is. It's just Debian with a whole bunch of packages pre-installed.
Now, we actually have one more. I won't give it quite as much time because we are running pretty long here. But we also have the gallery of failed prints. And I don't think we've actually showed that one on any of the live streams before.
I don't know. Some of those things in that failed gallery don't look like failures to me. I don't know.
I gotta agree there. So the first one in there is one from me. This was a real hack job. Everything just kind of thrown together, but
we can't see it. But...
Is it not?
Everybody drink. Technical difficulty.
Oh, I want this up. Okay. There we go. Now it's up, right? You can see it?
Yep.
Okay. This one, I put it in the failure because the voltage boost regulator, battery charger, board lit itself on fire while it was running. Apparently, it cannot handle the amp draw. Even though it's rated for roughly double what I'm pulling off of it, it got hot enough to smoke itself. But this was a fun little build. I wanted to build something kind of like the Sony Clee Volt
NX80V. Yep. I have one.
Bluetooth keyboard, Wi-Fi. There's a SDA, a software-defined radio inside of there. This holds the lithium ferrous oxide, something or another batteries, Li-Fi batteries. There's a Pi 4 inside of there and a 7-inch display. This one was fun. One of those things that I actually finished in a weekend. But yeah, cool little build. Never really released the plans or anything for that because it would be too difficult for someone to duplicate. It's not a deck. It's a failed print from Zach. It's a little bit of stringing.
Jeez. Just a little.
Just a little. From Captain Numbnuts. He was working on a kind of like a Nux style build, I think, for a Raspberry Pi. I think it's a pretty cool little setup. I don't know why this one failed. This one, I believe, was an infinity mirror that didn't quite work out.
Oh.
C-Track, yes, there you go.
Or maybe a magic mirror. This might have been a LCD behind for magic mirror.
Oh, it's like an infinity magic mirror.
Oh, it says right there. It's the magic mirror attempt.
Something from Trekius. See, now this isn't a failure. This looks complete to me.
Yeah.
Just piece it together when you need it. Doesn't have to be in the case. Ooh, yeah, handwire keyboard. That sometimes is.
I think
is that enamel wire?
Yeah, is the enamel wire because that can get confusing really quickly.
And very difficult if you don't get the housing burned off and you don't get a good solder joint. Another one from Zach, early prototype for his heads-up display. Looks like it's got a camera in the middle too.
Is that
you can always do something like that instead of a teleprompter. Just kind of like Zach uses his for a teleprompter.
Yeah.
I
wish I still had my Google Glass. I'd use it.
If you could, they shut down all the servers and everything, so you can't actually use it for anything.
Yeah.
This one from Artistifer is pretty cool. Wrist-mounted deck.
Isn't it? He did the Data Monk, didn't he? I want to say it was him. Yeah.
There's a couple variations on it. This is one of the versions. This is he's wearing the Glyph DLP retinal projector display.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of those. It's an incredible image that you get from it. Incredibly sharp. No lines between the pixels because it's DLP.
I really want to try one out.
I wonder if they're still so cheap yet. I wonder.
They are. They're still around $130, $140. So they've gone up a little.
Yeah.
Only 100 when I bought mine. They're terribly uncomfortable to wear, but a bit of modification and you can turn them into something more usable. Looks
Now
like we
this
got
one I don't think has a touch screen. That one looks just like a bare LCD.
Yeah, that one does. And I know it's in the failed, but it looks complete to me. Looks like it's got some duct tape, but the color matches. So
Yeah, the battery packs on the right there, and
from Paul MW, and
I like how how the keyboard matches the width of the screen almost like perfectly.
Yeah,
that looks really good. That ain't no fail.
Got some kind of a little build going on here. Looks like just more of the beginning of it. Let's not call that one a failure. It's just not finished yet.
Yeah.
And another mechanical keyboard.
Corn keyboard.
Mm-hmm. We got here Edirath. Say this is another cool one. I remember when the guy built this a couple years ago. And it works. It's complete. It's in the wrong gallery. The beginnings of one. It's that metal halide work lamp, and I have that keyboard there. It's from the cherry
police car keyboard, right?
Yep, black cherry switches, thick plastic frame, metal base plate, like super solid, and it has VESA mounting points at the bottom. I really like those keyboards.
Those are pretty expensive too.
That keyboard is between $20 and $35 on eBay every day.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, whenever I look for one, they've.
That's the best part about it is they're super cheap. You just got to clean them. You literally got to remove the keys, remove the rubber waterproof membrane, and just throw that away because covered in
vomit,
everything.
And Lord knows what else.
Definitely blood, hair, skin, probably vomit. It was pretty nasty.
That one from back 7 though, I thought was really cool. Just because it had the fiber optic serial connection, I thought that was really cool. The one right above this one.
Oh yeah, this thing.
He sold it to someone in the group, but
I don't. I don't know what it was really ever intended for, but
I think what he said it was for is like you'd have the computer shielded, and then you'd have the like since it's fiber optic, it wouldn't get really interfered. By
I guess
electromagnetic and whatnot.
Fully isolated.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a cool build. A little waterproof case, Pi with the that's the power over Ethernet hat on it. Which he actually sent me that board. I have that sitting right here. One of those PoE boards.
You can get the. I asked him where you can get the fiber optic serial connection. Apparently, SparkFun, I think he said it was.
Check this thing out. I have never even seen this one. This one looks really cool.
Yeah, that ain't no failure either.
Yeah, how do you call that a failure? That's like, that thing's clean looking. It just needs like one panel to cover the side.
Yeah.
We'll have to ping him on that one too. Let's get some more details. I really like this build too, and the split, staggered, angled ortho.
And with the hinge like that, I'm betting all the wires are going through the hinge.
Yeah, and there's probably not a lot of wires either because it looks like everything's up in top of it. That's a cool one. Here's a better shot from it. Nice big battery pack too. Yeah, it looks like everything's up in top, so all you would be connecting is the keyboard to the top and maybe the batteries.
Very cool.
Guess the hinge didn't quite work the way he wanted. That could be fixed. That's a cool one. And even more decks. And
cyber deck.
Here's the beginning of one. This is kind of like the back 7 recovery kits. Which we need to see some more of those. It's been a while since people have been making those on the Reddit.
Well, I think Jay's cooking something up with those containers again. I'm not exactly sure what though, but she's very secretive.
Well, and that is both galleries now. I've actually got all of them. Man, that is a lot. There's way more on there than remember seeing last time I looked.
What other galleries do we have? EDC gallery?
Yep. That one's mostly guns and knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. Almost gives you inspiration to start building another deck. And another one.
I have a deck that's like 80% of the way there. I just have to finish it. It's sitting right here. You can see it's got the keyboard portion.
Can you bring it in?
There's the hand. I suppose so.
I can instantly recognize it just from the silhouette. So I know about the wrapping on the handle. Yep, there it is.
It looks good on display back there too.
Yeah,
now, is that a second one underneath of it?
What?
It looks like there's still one sitting there.
No, that's a laptop like holder.
Okay.
Mount.
It looks like it's got a handle on the side, and because
you can actually tell this has been sitting there. It's got like a layer of dust on it. So I've got the keyboard portion all done, full hand wire jobby.
Nice, clean.
And then this is the frame part. I need to move my microphone over there.
That thing looks damn good. Look at that nice paint job on it. You can't even see it because it's so dark.
Yeah.
Some 2020 extrusion down the sides for the frame.
And then on the side here is where on the inside is where all the ports are going to be. And it's a removable plate, and you've got over here, I have video broken out because I want to connect it to a little CRT thingamajig I have up there. You can see it kind of.
Oh, okay.
Right there. And then you've also got HDMI, and there was going to be the folding screens and all that baloney.
Do you have any other light there? Like, it's so dark that it's not really visible because it matches your shirt.
Yeah, I can turn the regular room lights on. Hold on a sec.
Let's get a good shot of this. I don't think anyone has seen this, in the flesh.
Okay, I think I have the screen portion. I have like a bucket of crap. Here's the screen portion, and it has a alpha Wi-Fi adapter that's going to go in here as well with the big antennas. So here's the screen. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So here's the screen. Just like a touch screen. It was the only one that I found that had the ports like in the middle of the screen, so they weren't like just on the ass end, so you could actually do stuff with it without the ports breaking off. But that'll go kind of over here in this general area. There's like top plates that I have for it too, but like these go on the edges of the keyboard, and then everything's held together with those little T-nuts that go in the tracks on the 2020. So here's the keyboard again, hand wired. I found I really enjoy hand wiring. Oh, hold on 1 second. My family's calling me.
Well, I guess he's out for a minute.
Yeah.
Man, that is a really cool. Take this off solo. That keyboard alone, like that thing is clean.
Someday there will be
right back in like 10 minutes.
Okay. Someday there will be something in this. Someday.
I've got this one here.
I think you and I have the same size.
Well, I've got a couple of them.
Yeah.
This one, I'm not going to show anything inside of it, but about a month, we'll get to see
Ooh, that's a bigger boy.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I love these nano
I'm not going to show
cases.
the other side either because there's a couple of things. But yeah, that's a big one, and there's going to be some pretty cool stuff going in there. Several displays, a Windows system. Couldn't dual boot to Linux, but Windows mainly because the applications that need to run on it really need to run natively on Windows 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's gonna be heavy. Like, you can tell I don't have everything in it right now because I can pick it up easily. It's probably gonna be a good 8-pound laptop ish, CyberDeck.
Yeah.
I do have another smaller one that I'm working on for myself, Pelican case. Problem is it fits my TX16S to the millimeter. It's like such a perfect case that I don't really want to convert it into the deck.
Yeah.
I need to get a new case for the controller first before I do it. One of these days, though. And I always have this guy over here because it's just really handy to have. Keyboard, touchpad, and then I just use double-sided tape or Velcro, and I stick whatever display I'm using in this corner.
Nice.
And it does have a bottom and everything. You can close it up, but I usually leave it open just, because I like to use this for whatever random SBC, whatever I'm working on.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty simple little box. All 3D printed, and this is some of that Prusa Galaxy stuff. Like, it's got that.
Damn, is that what that is? That looks nice.
Yeah, it's got like silver and white specks in it and black specks, and the filament itself isn't exactly like true black. It's kind of more of a gray, and you can't tell that it's a print. Like, when you're looking at it, it's just it doesn't really give itself away as a print. Even looking at it up close, pretty much can hide any of the spots that give it away.
Huh.
And the keyboard is just from Amazon. It's a random 40% that pops up every now and then. Usually, it's about $70, so it's not cheap, but it's quite nice. Uses nice switches.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
sorry.
The one and only artisan keycap I have ever actually completed, which it's just gonna be a tiny blur, but it's a little smiley face,
Nice.
resin printed, painted, and then encased in liquid resin.
The 3-eyed smiley face?
No, just 2 eyes.
It's the selenium.
It's actually very similar to this right here, the crossed out eyes.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Valram.
No, I made that one before I got the 3-eyed smiley tattoo.
Damn.
I do have this guy sitting here too, in a sad state of disrepair because I took it apart and used the Pi 4000 motherboard in something else. So it's not actually even in the keyboard. It's just a hollow shell. But this was my attempt at using the 2020 extrusion for a deck and some resin printed in caps on it.
Yeah.
I do like using 2020 extrusion.
I like working with it. It's just like it never gives me the aesthetic I want, which is like a shame.
Well, for this one, I gave it holographic chrome, so
yeah,
it's a little more aesthetically pleasing than the usual.
Yeah, I do like that. That's got.
Have you seen the metal deck, Lanka?
The metal deck?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
Okay. So this was my second deck. And it uses 2 pieces of 2020
I like that where
And
you only
then
see one face of it. Yeah.
in between, in here is a piece of 2040 that combines the keyboard section and the computer section. So,
Huh.
yeah. So, I don't know.
That is pretty
It's an
awesome.
aesthetic. I mean, it's heavy because there's
Yeah.
like a million screws in this, but
Maybe I'm just using it wrong because both of your guys' examples are a lot better than anything I can come
Show
up
the
with.
show
This
the
one-
metal again with the screen flipped up, so you can see.
this one has the black one.
That one I didn't even know was in there.
Yeah, like
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
a nice, it's a nice
I
layout.
have to tighten the hinge. But
Can the screen fold all the way down as well?
it can,
Nice.
Oh, okay,
like so.
cool. I didn't know it could do that.
Yep. I usually like to keep it backwards though, because I don't know. I mean, I didn't design it for it to go forward. I should make the hinge maybe like 2 or 3 millimeters taller so it doesn't press into the keys. But I think my favorite bit is the little
I like that.
little joysticky here.
Yeah.
And floppy drive.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side, the retro cart.
Retro.
No way.
Yep. That's designed by Tom Nardi from Hackaday.
Yeah.
Yeah, he built that thing and even did the parametric design on it, so you can resize it to fit other stuff while keeping the important parts, the correct size.
Yeah,
It's just USB.
It's a USB 3 plug that's just held in with the screw.
Yeah.
And it works. It's got the aesthetic that's just super awesome.
Yeah, he actually sent me one of them, which I finally found again. I had put the thing away,
Why
and
am I so blurry?
did you
Still
smear
blurry.
Vaseline on yourself?
No, well, not today. I didn't take my daily Vaseline bath, if that's what you're asking.
Ran basic 1010 extrusion, absolutely. I've got a whole set of it that I've been using to.
Thanks to your pal Blasto for telling you about them, not being super expensive like someone thought.
Well, they are super expensive, but I just broke down and bought the set.
They're not expensive. $20 on Amazon, you can get like 4 pieces of 400 millimeters. Not bad.
Yeah, no, I got all of it. Like I spent like $300. I got all of the
extrusion.
got all the pieces, all the screws, all the T-nuts, all the brackets, and
the way they get you is those stupid little nuts. They're like $1 a piece almost.
Yeah. There's also 1515 extrusion, which is another nice size to work with. Yeah, the 10 by 10 is a little bit. It's not that strong, If you're going to span the length of a deck, it absolutely does bend.
But if you have it with like a flat thing on top and it's like connected, once it's all together, it's
you could definitely shore it up. My use case for it is for the LCD screen. For that portion of it, I wanted the screen to have a good strong frame. So 1010 for the LCD and 1515 for the main body of it.
I'm having a hard time picturing 1010 in my head for some reason.
It's small. It's a
10
lot
by
smaller.
10
It's a calibration cube. It's a 3D printed calibration cube, 10 by 10.
Well, aren't those usually 2020?
Depends which one you do.
Cubes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 1 centimeter square tubing.
Yeah.
It
works feels really a lot thinner than you imagine it would.
I was gonna say, I'm having trouble picturing it in my head.
It doesn't weigh much either.
It's very light. Yeah. I'm actually going to use that for the frame of the keyboard that I plan on making with those keycaps I showed a while ago. Those game theme ones.
Anyone that's planning on building a keyboard or a deck or any kind of long 3D print, save yourself the print time and the plastic trying to make the thing actually, rigid, and just embed some 2020, 1515, 1010, whichever size, and just put that in there. It's going to be infinitely stronger and lighter it's a good backbone to build off of.
Yep. Here's my sketch for my keyboard.
Nice.
So it's going to
Yeah,
be
I
basic,
have
the
one-
same basic construction as all the other ones I've done. Just big ice cream sandwich of extrusion and printed plates.
For this keycap set, the Nintendo one, that's pretty much what I was planning on doing. The design I came up with is 3 pieces, so you can rearrange them in whichever order you want. It won't matter, and rearrange them after the fact. Like I want, arrow keys and number pad on the left side, and why not?
Yeah.
And you can just swap it around. So whoever builds the thing,
it's a
they can
natural
just move
break
it later.
too. It's a natural break too, because you can just do like a straight line up. That's what I had to do with this. So I had to print in multiple pieces, so it's perfect.
Or you could have it in the middle. The design I'm doing, like you could have your number pad and arrow keys in the center because it's a split ortho.
Oh yeah.
So
with an ortho, then it's easy to split up.
Yeah, and it does kind of make it nice for ambidextrous, just being able to not have to reach all the way across the keyboard to use the arrow keys. One of these days I'll get around to it.
I don't think I've ever actually used a ortho keyboard other than that little thumb keyboard I made, but that's not really something I would type on anyway.
It's been a while since I had one that was actually full size, but it's pretty easy. Like, takes a couple days to get used to it again.
Well, as always, my thing is.
I was just gonna say we should probably wrap it up because we're approaching the 3-hour mark. But anyone, any projects you're working on? Anything you want to talk about before we sign off?
Well, let's do a quick little acorn update. The glue has dried. It feels pretty sturdy. So there we go.
Mm-hmm.
I will get some googly eyes, and if anyone has a good name for him,
Hans.
let me know. No, this is not Hans. Hans is taken.
Just draw a squiggly googly eye on it. It'll be Hans' brother.
No. Yoder. Hans and Yoder.
I was going to say Gruber. We get Hans Gruber. Oh, man.
Yes, Hans. Whatever happened to Hans?
I want to make an NFT of the Hans drawing and make it a prize for something in our next VertCon or something.
Idea.
You watch, it'll blow up and be worth $5 million or some bullshit like that. I would shit my pants if it was worth that. Honest to God, I would.
I've definitely had the same thought. I was like, I just kind of want to make a couple NFTs because it's just it sounds fun, right? Just to have a few, just to joke around. And then what happens if I don't know, you post a picture of one and somebody actually offers you money for it, and you're just what?
I mean, it's no different than any artwork. But then they don't own it.
Yeah,
you could sell the right to use it in certain ways, to post it on your, It's an interesting topic. We should talk about it in the next live stream.
I could definitely go 3 hours talking about NFTs.
Actually, that would be interesting because I know about it. I haven't done it myself. I've looked at the process. It's not very expensive. You're mostly just paying for some CPU time.
Yeah. Can make an NFT live on stream.
NFTs kind of.
Oh, we should.
I don't know.
Absolutely do it. That would be a great one. We can make the Hans NFT live on.
Is that your CyberDeck Lemcott in that case?
It's an empty case, but eventually someday, yes.
And it is the right color.
When pipe, yeah, man.
It clearly was on purpose.
Even your chair is that color.
Have you guys not noticed a theme?
Very coordinated. Your walls are kind of that color too. It's just
maybe some green LEDs.
Those are both things. Yes.
Yeah.
These will all be up for sale on Etsy soon.
They don't want you to know this, but you can just right-click and save image on an NFT, and you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up for today. But you know, the live streams are back, and probably won't be doing 1 or 2 a week like we were before, but you know, we'll try and bring you a couple every month.
Yeah.
So good night, later, have a good one.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks everyone that stayed with us and actually watched this.
I think the best part was the acorn part.
Yeah, I'll edit that out.
Acorns are wood.
We all
Just
know.
throwing that out there.
All right, later.
Good night.
Bye.